question about it. They have a lot of spirit on this team, and it starts with Dick Geron, the new head coach. Meanwhile, the Vikings won the toss and elected to kick off. And Orlando Thomas now holding for Mitch Berger, who gets this game underway. And it's kicked into the end zone and down for the touchback. So the Chicago Bears going on offense and making his first start since opening game back in 1996 is Jim Miller, and that was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Up front, Rockermeyer, Perry, Kreutz, Valerio, and James Williams. Big Cat getting a new 4-year contract this week. Curtis Enos, the main running back. Bobby Ingram and Marcus Robinson, who's been productive with Curtis Conway, still out of action with a sprained ankle. And we'll see a group of tight ends. Starting, however, is Alonzo Mays.
Five eligible receivers out on play number 1.
Including Glenn Milburn, an empty backfield, and there's a flag to start this game unceremoniously, and our referee, Bill Carollo, will give the call.
Prior to the snap, ball starts. 88, offense.
So it was Marcus Robinson and a 5-yard penalty. Let's check out the Minnesota Vikings defense, loaded with speed. Chris Dolman, Jerry Ball, Tony Williams up front, along with John Randall, Kylie Wong, Ed McDaniel, and Dwayne Rudd, the linebackers. Rookie Kenny Wright still at cornerback, with Jimmy Hitchcock at the other corner. Robert Griffith and Orlando Thomas the safeties. First and 15 from the 15-yard line. Miller has a lot of time, and the pass nearly intercepted after the deflection off the hands of Marty Booker, and it was Chris Rogers who nearly picked it off in Rudd.
Was right there on top of it, like you mentioned. Rogers knocked that ball down, but the biggest key, as you mentioned, with Jim Miller, is a lot of time. And what he's got to be able to do is calm himself down. You mentioned the first start since '96 with Pittsburgh. Things didn't quite go the way he planned. They'll ease him into this game. A lot of short underneath stuff.
Ingram goes in motion, and Curtis Enos with his first carry of the game, and he bangs it out to the 22-yard line, and a gain of 7.
Dick, you know, when I watch the Chicago Bears team, they don't have a lot of guys who can hurt you, but this guy here, Curtis Enos, is one. What really impresses me about him are 2 things. First of all, he'll block, and he's not afraid to throw himself in. And the second thing is, you have to remember, he's coming off of a knee surgery that usually takes guys 2 years, and he's not playing with a brace. He just jumped right in and played. That's impressive.
And once again, Matt, there are 5 receivers on 3rd and 8. Empty backfield, and Miller being chased by Wong has to get rid of it in a hurry. Incomplete. Intended for Ingram, and that will set up 4th down. So the Vikings putting pressure on Jim Miller in this first series.
And Ed McDaniel coming up inside. You're going to watch. He's going to come right up inside. Remember, there's nobody back there to be able to block him once you get past that offensive line. There's 2 ways teams have been playing Chicago Bears. Either they've been soft, playing zones, not rushing anybody, or they've pressured them. Minnesota believes pressuring him, especially with Miller, is the way to go.
Todd Sauerbrunn kicking into the wind, and Robert Tate letting it bounce. Keep in mind that the Vikings no longer have David Palmer, their outstanding return man, who's been lost for the season with reconstructive knee surgery. So now the Vikings get good field position for Jeff George. He is a perfect 3-0 since becoming the starter, replacing Randall Cunningham at quarterback. The offensive line, Todd Stussy, Randall McDaniel, Jeff Christie the center, with David Dixon and Corey Stringer on the right side. Robert Smith back in action this 3 weeks with a sports hernia surgery. Carter, Moss, and Reed, 3 outstanding receivers. Vikings begin from the 36. And they hand off to Robert Smith in his first carry in a month, and he is stopped by Mike Wells. Good run stopper for the Bears. Wells up front with Jim Flanagan, the other tackle. Van Tuene and Brian Robinson are the defensive ends. Barry Mitter, Sean Harris, and Ricardo McDonald are the linebackers. Terry Cousin and Walt Harris the corners, and Chris Hudson and Tony Parrish manning the safety positions. 2nd and 8. again, they go to the run. Robert Smith off the left side. Picks up a couple of yards. Van Tuene, who is starting his second straight game at defensive end. A 4-yard pickup that time for Smith.
Robert Smith will come out here on this third down, but Robert Smith coming off of a hernia and had surgery. And if I'm playing against Robert Smith and I'm coaching the defense, I make sure I get as many hats on him as possible, because there's no way he can be in good hitting shape. And you want to make him feel it early.
Leroy Horde, who injured a knee in practice this week, is in the game now on 3rd and 4. Here comes the blitz up the middle on George. Has to get rid of it, and a fine catch made by John Henry Mills before he goes out of bounds, and a first down just shy of midfield.
Well done, and a nice job by Jeff George to see the whole field. The Bears elect right here is they come with a blitz inside. They're going to try to get pressure. Jeff George, one thing about George you have to remember, first of all, he's more comfortable in this offense than he's ever been. And the second thing, like the great players Marino and Favre and Elway and those guys, he does not have to have good mechanics to make a good throw.
More weapons than he's ever had wherever he's been, without question. First down on the 48, and the pass to Chris Carter. And Carter gets the ball and moves it into Bear territory. And picking up, Matt, where he left off against the Dallas Cowboys with a blazing second-half effort and a gain of 26.
Well, that whole play, Dick, it starts, first of all, up front, you have to have good protection. Todd Stussy, who had a nightmarish game on Monday night, goes right after Flanagan and gives him that time. And then it's just pitch and catch. The thing to remember about Chris Carter, it's not about patterns, it's about finding the open holes, and I don't believe anyone does it better than him.
Certainly not, and of course then you've got Randy Moss to contend with on the other side. First down on the 26 of the Bears. And here is Robert Smith hemmed in and down for a loss behind the line of scrimmage. And that was Jim Flanagan and Van Tuene, and a loss of 1.
You know, that Jim Flanagan, I remember his rookie year, I went to training camp and they asked me to watch different players, and they kept on asking me about the wrong number, because I kept coming back. I said, I don't know about, but that 99, that kid can play. He's not a real big guy. He plays with great leverage inside and a great intensity. I always liked him.
Second and 11 on the 27. Pressure on, and the quick pass to Carter. And Chris Carter, with his second reception, gets inside the 20. He is short of a first down by 3 yards, with Warwick Coleman, a rookie linebacker, making the stop.
Dick, and just speaking yesterday with Jeff George, it was interesting. He said, because part of this offense now with Chris Carter, Randy Moss, Jake Reed, and all the people who can catch the ball, Matthew Hatchett on the sidelines is as good. He said, it's just turned into street ball. If you get open, if I have time, I'll find you, you throw it.
That's a dream for a quarterback.
It really is.
7th play of the drive, 3rd and 3. Leroy Horde blocking, and Jeff George loses it, and a fumble on the play, and the Bears have recovered. It was Chris Hudson on a safety blitz, and on the fumble, the Bears recover on the turnover.
Dick, he was looking for Chris Carter, and Terry Cousins did an excellent job of undercutting him to take that throw away. And when he couldn't find Carter, they had come with pressure inside. As you can see, here comes Hudson. He had to hold it, slap the ball away, and you got the turnover. Great defense.
And we'll be right back.
Been thinking about a ski trip?
Back here in Chicago, the Bears recovering a fumble. It was Hudson who made the hit, and Clyde Simmons, the 36-year-old veteran defensive end, getting the loose ball. So it's 1st and 10 at the 28. James Allen, one of the 3-headed running backs, picked up 160 yards last week. And Brockermeyer moved after the audible was called by Miller, and a long count.
Full start. 78 offense. 5-yard penalty.
And let's go back this.
Remains first down.
Right inside, that's Terry Cousins. And see, they're looking for him to come, and he doesn't come. Instead, he undercuts Chris Carter. And Tom Carter, sitting up top there, was looking for help from the safety to the inside. The man who came open was Jake Reed, but because Cousin undercut him and took the quick throw away, Hudson was able to make the play.
First and 15, the pump fake, and Marcus Robinson is open. Down the sideline, and he'll score. Touchdown Bears.
Dick, talk about reading your keys and knowing your opponent. The Bears played Jimmy Hitchcock perfectly. And right here, that pump is what beat him. Because Hitchcock bit right there on that pump. And Robinson got behind him, and then he shows the speed, or the lack of speed defensively, to the end zone.
77-yard touchdown play. So Marcus Robinson developing into a big play wide receiver, putting the Bears in front following the fumble recovery. And Chris Bonio, who has struggled in the field goal department, kicking the extra point, and the Bears have jumped up top of the Vikings 7-0. And for Jim Miller, a big play to boost his confidence. Who earlier this year caught an 80-yard touchdown pass, and the man he beat, Jimmy Hitchcock, as the Bears doing a good job of film study as the Bears jump on top 7-0 for Jim Miller, the longest completed pass in his career. And now the Vikings will get the ball back, and we'll have an adjustment of the play clock as Chris Bonio gets set to kick it off.
Dick, sometimes what happens is, Jimmy Hitchcock's a studier. Sometimes as a player, you think you have a guy down so good that the offense uses it against you. And that's exactly what happened on that play. You think you have a real strong read, and you play that tendency hard. And it just turns around and bites you in the rear.
Robert Tate and Mo Williams are back for the Vikings. Once again kicking into the wind with Mo Williams on the return. And Williams returns it out to the 34-yard line.
There you go. Let's take a look, and we'll watch at this thing in sync on this touchdown. And I want you to watch over here when he pumps what happens right there. There's the pump. There's the bite. See the head inside? He's convinced that ball's coming in. Well, they use that completely against him. So remember, both sides of the ball are watching the same film. And so you also have your tendencies. And they know Hitchcock's a studier. They know that he likes to take chances. And so you use that part against him.
And we've seen teams using that against Jimmy Hitchcock all year long.
They've tried, and some teams have gotten him, like you've mentioned. But more than that, what Hitchcock now, he'll sit back a little bit now and not be so aggressive, and they can start hitting him underneath.
Vikings from the 34-yard line, and the pass caught by Carter after a bobble for a minimal gain. And once again, pressure put on Jeff George. Ricardo McDonald making the tackle on Carter.
What teams are doing to this Minnesota Viking offense is they're playing a safety high over the top of Randy Moss, because he's really a vertical player. He's a down-the-field guy, and they do not want to get beat deep. But what the Chicago Bear defense has been doing is they've been showing you one thing and then moving late to that, so they don't give the quarterback a good read.
Jim Kleinsasser, the tight end in the fullback position, the handoff to Robert Smith. And Robert Smith showing some nifty moves as he is close to first down yardage on the 44-yard line. Middle linebacker Sean Harris brought him down.
One part of this Minnesota Viking offense that is not playing to the level that it was a year ago, although it's gotten better, has been the offensive line. Last year, I don't think they were the best offensive line in the game, and they may still be that, but they're not playing as consistently as they were a year ago.
Carter went out of the game, and the two tight ends line up on 3rd down and 1. Leroy Horde, the power back, gets more than enough for the first down, and he doesn't look like he has a sore knee in the least, and he gets to the 35-yard line and a gain of 22. Holdman finally brings him down.
Dick, if he does have a sore knee, they should kick him in that thing every week. This is a good job by the offensive line we were just talking about. McDaniel, Stussy, and a good job at the fullback position in Kleinsasser. Just got some big, look at this, just big on big. Just get bodies on somebody. And Stussy, he just keeps that body on. He's not going to let anybody up.
And a flag now.
12 men in the huddle on the offense. 5-yard penalty remains first down.
So after the big game, Denny Green's Vikings penalized 5 yards for too many men in the huddle. Will set the ball back to the 46.
You know why teams put that, or why they put that rule into effect? The teams were putting a whole bunch of people in the huddle, and then you couldn't see what exactly the personnel was, so you couldn't make the proper adjustment defensively.
And a timeout called by the Vikings. Andrew Jordan went in motion. And so miscommunication going on the Vikings side. Timeout. We'll be right back. Choice Dave McGinnis of the Cardinals was the first. It was an awkward situation, and McGinnis didn't take the job, and the Bears, I'm sure, do not regret hiring the former defensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He has this team together, man. 1st and 15 at the 40-yard line following the timeout. George looking to throw, and Randy Moss is there. First down for the Vikings as he goes up for the catch to the 22. And right now, for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles. JB?
Battle in St. Louis. Steve Verline having a big year, having thrown for over 2,000 yards, 14 of them here to Wesley Walls to make it 7-0 Carolina. But St. Louis answers back. Kurt Warner. Who does he hook up with? Of course, Isaac Bruce. League-leading 10th time for a score. All tied at 7. Back to Dick Stockton and Matt Miller.
All right, JB, thank you very much. Rams a prolific scoring team, and the Vikings trailing 7-0. George to throw into the end zone. Chris Carter's got it. Touchdown, Vikings. That easy.
What a throw. That ball had very little. He had time to throw, but then he had very little. How should I say? He had to be perfect. I mean, it's just that simple. Watch the protection. Goes to the left. It's not there. He's able to come back. They're only rushing 4. Heck, Robinson never even got there. And then because of that time, he's able to go down the field. He's working. Watch this ball. It was right there.
21-yard touchdown reception, and at least no explosives going off this time.
Not like a week ago.
And the extra point by Gary Anderson is good to tie the game at 7-7. So Chris Carter with his 7th touchdown catch of the year, 21 yards, and we're all even. Still, the Vikings quickly tie it up. Jeff George with a 21-yard touchdown pass to Chris Carter. Perfect on that drive, 3 for 3. And Jeff George playing for the first time ever at Soldier Field. Played his college ball at the University of Illinois at Champaign. And appreciates, he told us yesterday, coming back to the old traditional stadiums like Soldier Field. Berger kicking off, and Glenn Milburn returning from the end zone. Milburn with a flag down. They're going to bring this one back. And Milburn out of bounds at the 35-yard line, but will have a penalty against Chicago.
You know, to go back on that touchdown, the coverage was there.
Yes. Holding 53 on the return team. That penalty is declined. Holding 36, the return team. That penalty is accepted.
They'll take the Ray Austin penalty.
Correction, 10-yard penalty, first down.
You know, to go back in that touchdown, I started to say, the coverage by Parrish, watch down here, the coverage is right there. The only reason that this is a completion for a touchdown is the right arm of Jeff George. I mean, look at this. He's right on top of that. That ball had to have zip. It had to be thrown perfectly. There was no margin for error whatsoever. And the ball just had enough mustard to get past that coverage, because you're going to grade that thing tomorrow on tape, and you can't say anything wrong about it.
So we're tied 7-7. The Bears had the ball for only a minute and a half and 4 plays. Start from 11. Curtis Edith on the carry. And Edith with some good moves gets the first down out to the 25-yard line. Chris Dolman ultimately with the tackle, and a gain of 14 for the former Penn State.
And what he gives you is he's got some power. And he looks skinny to me. He's down a lot from a year ago. But what you also get there is some missed tackles. And I think that's what's been killing this Minnesota Viking defense. They've been missing tackles with regularity. That's the only thing they've been consistent at.
Once again, an empty backfield. Glenn Milburn in as a receiver. 1st and 10 at the 25. And the pass caught by Marcus Robinson. And Robinson stiffs arm Orlando Thomas and gets 23 yards out of it. And this is the same Robinson who caught a 77-yard touchdown pass earlier.
I like this play. This is kind of clever. They'll bring people out. They're going to bring Robinson back inside. And they'll bring the people. So as you start to converge down inside, you have the linemen and the receivers coming out on you, and he cuts underneath them and then, uses his speed to get out there. Not a bad day for 2 catches, huh?
Already, and we still have 5.5 to go in the first quarter. Curtis Enos stopped for no gain on the play, and that was Robert Griffith, the strong safety, who was playing with a bruised thumb and has some padding on it. And Dennis Green telling us that it's going to be tough for Griffith to hold on to tackles and make interceptions.
He's got to wrap his arms up. Interceptions I can see, but you don't need that thumb to wrap. You've got to be able to wrap. He's a good tackler. He's an excellent hitter. Very aggressive. I like him as a player, but he has not been wrapping and missed more tackles than he should.
2nd down to 9. Milburn, the speed back, doesn't go anywhere, and good pursuit, starting with Chris Dolman, who's had a good first quarter. And a loss on the play of 5 yards will bring up 3rd and long for the Bears.
Nice job of discipline by Chris Dolman of just hanging to the outside. Chris Dolman's not the player he was 10 years ago. But what he does give you is he gives you the experience. He's been in big games. The game doesn't get bigger than him. He also understands the defense and the discipline of the defense, and you saw it there perfectly.
Came out of retirement earlier in the season.
He's just starting to play his best football, too, right now.
3rd and 14. Again, multiple receivers. And again, the pass to Marty Booker coming inside. And Booker, the rookie, down the middle. And he'll go in and score. Touchdown Bears. No flags down.
Dick, that's the same screen, but to the other side. They spread you out. They get you defending outside. It opens the middle of the field. Then they bring him back down inside like we just diagrammed. Watch, you're going to bring him back inside, and everybody's blocking out. And here comes the line. Once you get to the middle of the field, there's nobody there. That's a good play.
57-yard touchdown run by Marty Booker, who was the emergency quarterback last week. He was a high school quarterback in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And he catches the 57-yard touchdown pass. Chris Bonio on for the extra point. The kick is good. And the Bears lead it 14-7 as Marty Booker, 3rd-round draft pick from Northeast Louisiana, gives the Bears the lead again.
We're solving today's problems through the United Way. The NFL, the United Way, and you. The power of teamwork.
And that was the first NFL reception by the rookie Marty Booker, the emergency quarterback, last week for Cade McNown. And that turned out to be the 2nd longest pass thrown by quarterback Jim Miller. The first earlier in this quarter to Marcus Robinson, 77 yards.
Not a bad way to start for your first catch, huh? And Miller, impeccable start.
It is a short end-over-end kick into the wind. Mo Williams on the return for the Vikings. And piled on at the 33.
Dick, let's go to this. Look at the whole thing. See, they spread everybody out. See this? There's nobody in the middle of the field. So they bring a rush inside. Now he's just going to throw a short pass. Now I want you to watch how the troops rally. Right here. Now he runs back underneath. And he gets to the middle of the field. There's one guy to beat. Brockemeyer right there does a good job in Orlando Thomas. And then it's, Dwayne Bates with a nice job. Robinson with a nice job, but the middle of the field is open. They're going to have to make an adjustment for that because you can't continue to open that up. They'll just abuse you with it.
The Vikings start from the 32-yard line. Jeff George with a quick out to Randy Moss. Incomplete, and that is the first incomplete pass thrown by George. There is Jim Miller, who Making his second NFL start. He has played in 7 games in his 6-year career. A journeyman, really. Started with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a little bit with Jacksonville. Played with Atlanta and was dropped by the Lions and signed with the Bears last December. Already involved in 2 big offensive plays.
Heck, he's got 173 yards of passing already in the first quarter. That's not a bad start. That's not a bad game.
2nd and 10, and the pass batted down. And it looked like Brian Robinson, who was the hero last week by blocking the field goal to assure the Bears with the victory in the waning seconds, knocked that pass down.
Well, you see, David Dixon is not in. Corbin Lucina is, but Robinson, who got the slap on that ball last week to save this game, gets the same kind of pressure as he did there.
And the most relieved guy was Chris Boniel, who earlier had missed a 34-yard field goal. So he was relieved after Robinson blocked the field goal attempt. 3rd down and 10. Out of the shotgun, here comes the blitz and the pass to Randy Moss. And Moss made what looked to be almost a one-handed catch. It is complete, stayed in bounds, and a 1st down into Chicago territory with Tom Carter on the coverage.
I think he just gave him the nonchalant one-handed catch. Carter gets the jam. Now he's trailing him, so watch for the ball's thrown perfectly. Look, Carter grabbed the right hand to slap it down. He said, fine, have my hand. I'll use the other one. It's a thing of beauty.
25-yard gain. And as Jeff George said, it's like playing in your backyard when you're a kid, when you're throwing with the likes of Carter and Moore. From the 43, Robert Smith gets a couple on the carry. Mike Wells with the tackle.
Mike Wells has been one of those steady, every play guy. Not spectacular. He's not a great player. He's a really good player. And you know what you're going to get out of him. He's solid, he's physical, and he's tough. You win with players like Mike Wells.
3 rookies are in for the Bears defensively, including Russell Davis and a couple of linebackers. Warren Coleman and Kari Samuel. 2nd and 7. Were coming, and once again Jeff George changing the play at the line, flinging it in the direction of Randy Moss. Well, coming up next week, a big doubleheader on Fox, beginning with the pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Many of you will see the Lions and the Packers from Lambeau Field and the rest of the early schedule. And in the second half of our doubleheader, the Bears go against the Chargers in San Diego. And the rest of the slate coming up next week. Interesting, both teams' next games against the Chargers, but the Vikings have a bye week coming up. 3rd down and 7. George's pass intended for Moss, incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down. And right now, let's check in with James Brown for an update. JB?
All right, Dick, take a look at Steve Berline, who was on a nice groove, not here, throws a pick to Todd Light of the Rams. What does he do? 57 yards to pay dirt. That quickly, it is now 14-7. St. Louis now in the 2nd quarter. Back to you guys.
St. Louis find that their defense can help them too, Dick. They have enough offensive weapons. Just like the defense here with Barry Minner got his hand on that last ball and tipped it, which forced the incompletion.
4th down, Glenn Milburn is back deep, and Mitch Berger, who's leading the NFL in punting, will kick from the 45.
There's a flag.
And it's coming in from the 10-yard line, and a delay of game call will be charged against the Vikings.
Delay offense. That penalty is accepted. The yardage is declined. 4th down.
Interesting. Penalties accepted. The yardage is declined. You don't want to move it back with this wind at his back. You want to try to let the wind work in your favor. Maybe it'll blow it out of the end zone instead of keeping him inside the 20.
Berger with a fine kick, and a fair catch called for by Milburn, and the Vikings will down the ball inside the 5. That's why Mitch Berger leading the NFL not only in net punting average and gross punting average, but the ability with the wind to get enough touch to pin back the Bears.
That was a good job. I don't know what kickers do if you think I'm just going to go back there and shank one. I don't know. Kick it like it's bad. That was an excellent job.
They ought to ban you from commentary on punters.
You better believe it. Kickers, period. Never quite got it. I know this, so that's a good job. That much I know.
Well, that's a start. Bears have done very well after the catch. 128 of their 156 passing yards, starting from their 4. James Allen is the setback, and Allen gets the carry, and Allen maybe a yard or 2 with Chris Dolman again right in the middle of it. James Allen, who was picked up from the Philadelphia Eagles practice squad back in 1997, and last year back gained 163 yards against Baltimore, and only the greats, including the likes of Walter Payton and Gale Sayers, ever gained more in a game for the Bears.
Speaking of the great Walter Payton, he had his NFL record 275 against the Minnesota Vikings.
Second down and 8, and this pass intended for Robinson and flagged down, and Jimmy Hitchcock got a hold of Marcus Robinson, and it looks like pass interference will give the Bears new life upfield.
And it looks like Jim Miller has found something he likes on that left side. And he likes the matchup of Marcus Robinson. You can see the hand was around the left hip. His left hand on that hip. And if Hitchcock, you get in the guy's head early, it could get ugly.
It's interesting, they're working on the veteran Hitchcock, and they haven't even touched Kenny Wright, the rookie, at the other cornerback. First down on the 29. Miller out of the shotgun again with an empty backfield, drills it. The pass is low, and it's incomplete, and it was intended for Robinson.
There's that I was talking to you about. See, Hitchcock likes to play off. Then he'll take a shot and jump on him. Well, Robinson beat him on that. Now he's giving him a little bit of a cushion, and he's not quite as aggressive. When that happens, then what Robinson will do, he'll just run just a quick, 7 yards, get him to backpedal a little bit. Ball comes right to him. Here he is, right down here. Hitchcock, here's the matchup. They like that. And he's out there manned up right now.
Second and 10. Miller in the pocket. Finds some room, and this time he completes the pass to Robinson, short of the first down by about a couple of yards. And that'll bring up third down with under a minute and a half remaining in the first.
We're talking about this, he said the first, and here's John Randall working on James Big Cat Williams, and if you're going to block the Vikings, you've got to block John Randall. That time, Miller had that extra sense of stepping up because Randall had gotten the corner.
Third down and 1. 3 tight ends for Chicago. And Miller looking right and looking left and nearly intercepted in the pass caught by Edis, and a first down and very nearly picked off by Jimmy Hitchcock. It was a matter of inches, and Hitchcock could have walked into the end zone.
He wanted to go up top to Robinson. Watch it. He looks up there. Kenny Wright jumped the coverage. Because of protection, he's able to come all the way. Now watch this. This is almost 6 quick. Oh, he just missed it. And a great job by Curtis Enos of concentration to get that ball, but Hitchcock almost had redemption.
It'll go in the books as a completed pass and a first down on the 42. And the quick out to the receiver, Bobby Ingram, making his first catch of the game and driven out of bounds by Ed McDaniel, a gain of about 7 or 8 yards. Bobby Ingram, the leading receiver for the Bears coming in, that's his first catch.
Dick, what this Bear offense does to you, so many people have talked about the wide open Bear offense. You know what this is? This reminds me a little bit of San Diego in the early 80s. They give you, and Joe Gibbs also did in Washington, they give you lots of looks, lots of formations, moving people around, different personnel groups, but they run the same stuff. It's the same routes. And what they do is they try to get you off guard defensively, maybe blow a coverage, and then they get a big play.
Second down and 3.
Here comes K98.
And the pass is caught by Robinson, gets the first down, And inside the 40-yard line as time runs out, ending the first 15 minutes, and that is the end of the first quarter with the score, the Bears 14 and the Vikings 7. Fox NFL Sunday will continue right after these messages. Along with Matt Millen, Ham Oliver is with us as well. Gary Croton, who is the offensive coordinator for the Bears, who have 14 points on the board thus far.
And it's not like, you know, nothing's really sophisticated. It's just all they're doing is they're waiting to see what you do defensively, and they use it against you. I mean, it's still smart. It's simple, and I like it. Right now, what they really like is they like Marcus Robinson because he's gaining confidence, and defensively, they're not covering him.
And they scored 14 points into the win, which is a good start for the Bears. They're on the 39-yard line of the Vikings. And the handoff, and nothing, loss of 2 yards on the play. Rudd making the stop on Milburn. Take a look at the first quarter statistics, and you know that the Bears did a lot of business through the air to the tune of 207 yards.
Well, the biggest thing is those 2 pass completions. And one was just a nice bomb, you know, to Marcus Robinson. The other one is a catch and run and a missed tackle.
There's Robinson, 2nd and 12 from the 41. Enos on the handoff. And Enos brings it out to the 37-yard line. And a pickup of 4 yards. Joe Phillips making the tackle. There is Marty Booker, who caught a touchdown pass, as well as Marcus Robinson. And you can see a lot of the youth starting to seep into the Chicago Bears, at least their offensive plan.
You know, with the youth, the one with the most fun, who's having the most fun, is that Olin Krutz, who's the center. That guy, I like him.
Good foundation. 3rd and 8, and a bobble by Miller. Loose ball. And it's recovered by the Bears.
Boy, Dwayne Clemens really got himself a great push. Excellent job by Clemens coming up the field. Really, he forced, I believe, Big Cat Williams into Miller. Watch Miller, he's going to go with this. Watch right down here. He took him and threw him right in to Miller, and it forced the ball out of his hand, and of course Miller was able to recover.
4th down, and Todd Sauerbrunn will kick it away, and Robert Tate, fair catch. And you can see how difficult the wind is to handle as Tate makes the grab at about the 12-yard line. Vikings down by a touchdown. Get the ball when we come back. Minnesota Vikings game crucial to them in so many ways. They won 3 in a row, but they're only 1-3 in the NFC Central, having already lost to the Bears. And the handoff, Robert Smith goes up the middle and picks up about 5 yards. Well, so far, Matt, in a big surprise, the Detroit Lions holding 4th with the lead in the division, but as you see, only 1 game separates the Vikings from the Bears.
Tampa Bay needs to get the same consistency out of Dilfer as they did a week ago. Green Bay looks like they're in disarray. Minnesota is starting to gain some confidence. Detroit, like you mentioned, Detroit's believing in themselves. They're going to have a tough road here in the second half, but they believe they can win.
2nd and 5 from the 17, and the handoff to Robert Smith. He'll be short by about 1.5 yards, and that'll bring up 3rd down. Well, you have had the passing plays for touchdowns. 77 yards, Jim Miller to Marcus Robinson to open the scoring. And then Jeff George countered with a 21-yard needle threader to Chris Carter. And then the pass to Marty Booker, the rookie, and the blockers, and Booker did the rest. And that is how we got to 14-7 in favor of the Bears early here in the second quarter.
Blockers, Booker, and Paxton.
3rd down and 1. Carter went in motion to the right. And Jeff George's pass, and it's caught by Randy Moss in traffic, and a 1st down. Randy Moss has made some very tough catches thus far today, and that will give the Vikings a 1st down and a pickup of 8.
No, he's exceptional. He's exceptional catching the ball. He's fluid. He runs so well. He's getting better off of press coverage. See right here, he's just basketballing. Walt Harris just loses him. And Jeff George makes sure he finds it, because where he wanted to go, you saw his eyes. He was looking to the left of the screen. That's where Chris Carter was. They did a good job of taking that away, and then his eyes brought him back to Morris.
first down from the 30 and a play action pass. And coming back to make the reception is Randy Moss with Terry Cousin defending. And they are just shy of the first down by 1 yard. And of course, this is a quarterback's dream if you have the arm of Jeff George to play with receivers who can find the open spaces like they do.
Oh, absolutely. But here, this one on Randy Moss, this was excellent coverage by Cousin. He closed on it really well there. But the big part that Moss did was he came back so well to the ball because Cousin was all over. The only way that's a reception is that he came back to it.
2nd and 1. Robert Smith gets the first down and finds his way, wins his way, we should say, to midfield before Tony Parrish and Chris Hudson make the tackle, and a gain of 11 for Robert Smith.
Now you have to be a complete player, and you have to be able to fake when it's your turn. Cousin's going to stay right on top of him. And Moss is just keeping his defender away from the ball. So you just fake it quick, and the guy stands there. But as long as you get your man out of the play, you've been effective. Sometimes you don't even have to block him. You just have to keep him there.
Leroy Horde is in the game at running back. And Jeff George running out of the pocket, and the pass is dropped. Wide open was Jake Reed, and so Jake Reed, who had a great early start this year, Matt, is in a slump. He has dropped a lot of passes in the last several weeks.
Jeff George felt a little bit of pressure. Watch Parrish, he's going to come up inside. And so he feels this pressure, and he starts rolling out here. He'll start rolling to his right. And when he rolls, he finds time. And everything's going perfect right up until it bounces off of his chest. He is in a slump, Dick, like you mentioned. He's not caught the ball well. And they're concerned about it. I tell you, there's a good young one on their sideline, and Matthew Hatchett.
2nd down and 10. Here's Leroy Horde trying to cut up the middle. And Horde picks up about 4 on the play.
When Leroy Horde was called upon to carry the ball with Robert Smith out, he really did a great job. And teams played him differently. Teams played him because they didn't respect his speed. But you know what he did? He said, I don't care about having speed. I'm going to run right through you anyway. And he did. And he really pounded on him and really played well. Leroy Horde is one of the good running backs in this league with a great pickup by the Vikings.
He is a money running back and gives them the power dimension. But now it's 3rd down and 7, a passing situation for George. He gets hit, it's deflected, and 4th down, and a late flag comes down as Clyde Simmons and the safety Tony Parrish were in on George. And the penalty will go against the Vikings. Ineligible receiver, I believe, may be the penalty.
Italy touching a pass. Number 77, offense. A penalty is declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
Watch Barry Minner setting up Todd Stussy. All he does is he finds where no one was. The unfortunate thing for him was he also missed the quarterback. But he forced Jeff George to throw that ball and hit Corey Stringer in the head, and that's a penalty they call.
So it can't hit a lineman in that circumstance, so 4th down, and Mitch Berger in to kick it away. The momentum definitely on the side of the Chicago Bears at this point.
Bears are playing good defense, too. They're taking away Chris Carter in the quick routes.
And a good punt by Berger, this time into the wind, and he gets the roll. I guess the best punter in the league gets all the advantages.
Gets all the praise.
Bears, who defeated the Vikings 24-22 inside the Metrodome in Week 5, leading in this game with a little more than 9 minutes remaining in the first half. And a look at the skyline of a beautiful city. Temperature near record highs yesterday of 72, but today in the low 50s and winds gusting to 25.
This is a great city.
No question about it. The Bears, starting from the 4-yard line for the 2nd straight possession, give the ball to Curtis Enos, but Robert Griffith, playing up at the line, makes the play.
Hey, I want you to take a look at all the different formations. This is slot with an offset eye. Then they come with the slot open. They keep the back and they put them outside. Then they go to the 5 receiver set outside with nobody. and then you come back again to just a straight eye with the tight end. Now, what that does to you is that the multiple formations, it makes you have to adjust defensively all the time. They're running the same routes, but they make you have to adjust to everything.
Second down and 12, and the pass caught by Booker, and Booker dives forward. Not enough for the first down, but getting out of real bad trouble for the Bears, who were down on their 2-yard line, and that will bring up 3rd and short.
I think the biggest thing with all those formations and all that's going on, I believe right now it's a case of these Minnesota Vikings corners not playing very well. They're giving up a cushion. They're taking advantage of it. Marcus Robinson's had himself a field day here, and he right now is outside man-to-man with Jimmy Hitchcock up top.
3rd and 1. Curtis Enis gets tripped up and stopped short of the first down, and it was Robert Griffith. So despite the injured thumb, Griffith playing big here, and we'll check to see where they spot the ball. But on first glance, it looked like the Bears were stymied.
Watch Robert Griffith right here, number 24. He's one of those players who just has a feel for playing up close. He's not a big guy, but he has the instinct, and he has good vision. To play the position he plays, you have to almost be like the running back. You have to, because he's not accounted for, you have to be able to fit your way into the blocking scheme and find the open hole. Good linebackers are that way, and Robert Griffith also is that way. Griffith, I should say.
And what do you know? They've got the first down by less than a football. So Curtis Enis, needing a yard, barely gets it. Remember, the Bears lost 2 yards on the first play, so they were back on their 2. As the Vikings trailing 14-7, and the Bears.
Go! The Bears are outplaying the Vikings right now. I mean,
They're playing like they're the season team.
7.5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. The Bears have outplayed this Viking team.
Here's Enis around the left side, and Dwayne Rudd not letting him get anywhere. Of course, Dwayne Rudd, who taunted the Bears last year on Monday night, might have been Sunday night, when he recovered a fumble, ran for a touchdown, and in the first meeting at the Metrodome, a lot of the Bears let him know how they felt physically and verbally, and Rudd went over and complained to the coaches. So this thing hasn't died yet as far as the Chicago players are concerned.
No, as long as those players are there, like Big Cat Williams, the guys who are around, Dwayne Rudd's always going to have to live with that.
2nd and 10, Ty Halleck out of the backfield, but Orlando Thomas is right there and makes the tackle, bringing up 3rd and long.
Nice job by Orlando Thomas to jump that coverage. And also a nice job by Miller of reading the blitz, feeling it, and going out to his hot receiver. You know, it's funny, we talked about Big Cat Williams, and he's not going to let that Dwayne Rudd thing die. And the guy who he's recruited has been Olin Kreutz, who's just looking for a cause.
Easy man to bring on your side, right?
He's a good player, that Olin Kreutz. He's got a ways to go, but he could be special.
3rd down and 9. Miller in trouble. Loses the ball, and the Vikings have it. And the Minnesota Vikings, let's see if Chris Dolman recovered the fumble and ran with it. Yep. Dwayne Clemens forced the fumble. Dolman recovers, and the Vikings in business deep in Bears territory.
Well, that's all set up because of the coverage down the field. The same secondary that's been struggling. This time, Clemens comes off and gets on Valerio. The coverage took it away. Clemens comes back and slaps the ball down. And then it's the old Pick Panther.
Yes.
Who picks that thing up, Chris Dolman, and takes it down to about the 7 or 8 yard line.
And the Vikings now 1st and goal on the Bears 7. Bears have turned it over more than any other team in the NFL. This one could really hurt. A quick to Chris Carter, charging for the end zone, and he's over. Touchdown, Vikings.
That's a good call by the official because it's where the ball is, not where Chris Carter's body was. And if you watch, Cousin, he threw the ball. He knew this was a nice play all the way around. Watch him. He knew watch where the football goes. See, he's going. The football has to break the plane. It did. Nice call by the official. A nice call also by Jeff George because he saw Terry Cousin physically outmatched outside by Chris Carter. So you just throw him and let him just become basically a running back outside.
And good maneuverability by Carter. He was heading out of bounds, but he got the ball over first before he landed, as Gary Anderson's extra point ties the game at 14.
And Clemens made that whole thing happen. Slapped the ball away out of Miller's hands. Pretty soon it's Chris Carter in the end zone. Is out working on Terry Cousin, and it's a great job by Jeff George to find the mismatch. And then look at this great stiff arm that Carter has, and the awareness at the end of the play. Dick, this is really phenomenal, because he feels himself going out, and he's able to take that left hand and break the plane before he does go out. Just fantastic awareness. It reminds me of a year ago when we were down in Atlanta, and the great play that the running back 32, Jamal Anderson, makes as he's going out of bounds. He kicks it inside and breaks the plane and is scored. That's great players make great plays, mostly because of awareness.
That made the highlight reels for the season, Jamal Anderson's play. Lynn Milburn bobbles the kickoff, and Milburn recovers. Flag is down. Another one goes down as Milburn brings it out to the 35. So Milburn, with a good return earlier in the game, nullified because of an illegal block in the back. Here's Bill Carolla. And again against the Bears.
Illegal block in the back, 49 on the kick return team. 10-yard penalty, first out.
That's Ty Halleck, and he's working on Chris Walsh, who's an excellent special teams. You see that right there? That's what they're going to call.
Coming up later today on Fox, the second half of our doubleheader, except in Chicago, the Packers against the Cowboys. Two teams limping right now. The Packers not themselves, and the Cowboys not themselves either after losing Monday night to the Vikings. But Brett Favre will try to have a comeback game, and will be throwing it the likes of Deion Sanders defending. Cowboys with a big edge over the Packers in the 90s. Coming up next on the second half of our Fox doubleheader.
Dick, you saw both those guys there, guys who will be playing in that game who are not 100%. And I believe on this past Monday night, Jeff George took advantage of a little beat-up Deion Sanders, and I don't know if Brett Favre can do that with his thumb.
Miller from the 16 completes a pass underneath to tight end Ryan Wetnight for a gain of about 5 yards or so to bring up second down. The Bears, who ended a 3-game losing streak last week in winning at Chicago, talk about an improved team. This is a club that has knocked off the Vikings and the Packers on the road and have already equaled the number of wins they've had last year, trying to get to 500.
And they beat that Green Bay team last week in Green Bay, which is not an easy thing to do.
Second down at 4. Miller, and wide open is Edgar Bennett. And somebody forgot about Edgar Bennett on the Viking side of things. Dwayne Rudd finally caught up, and a 34-yard gain to the former Green Bay Packer running back.
Well, it all starts up front with Miller. He sees what he wants to do. He goes play action, he comes back. It looks like he wanted Robinson, but because of the protection, nice job by the offensive line, he's able to scan the field and come back to Edgar Bennett, who slipped out of it. Nobody knew who the heck he was. Rudd got on his horse and caught him, but a nice job by Miller of seeing the whole field.
Bennett remains in the game along with Enos out of the shotgun on first down at the 44, and the pass caught by Marty Booker, and get to the 40-yard line, short of a first down by 6.
Remember, we talked about John Randall. This time he's working on Blake Brockmeyer right here, 78. And he gets to him, and just in case he gets to the other side, here comes the cavalry in the form of Big Cat Williams.
And you can hear the cavalry charge.
I heard that in the background.
Second down, and the give to Curtis Enos. Enos to the 37-yard line. Will need about 3 yards for the first down as we move inside 4 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Jerry Ball, who was acquired from the Cleveland Browns earlier in the year when the Vikings were struggling. They added Dolman from retirement. Ball was picked up as well, and they seem to pick up a defensive player every week.
They need to get some more defensive plays like they had earlier by Dwayne Clemens if they're going to make any kind of a run.
3rd and 3, again the empty backfield, and the pass caught for the first down at the 30 by Bobby Ingram. Tough catch for Ingram, and I'll tell you, Jim Miller showing a lot of poise for a quarterback who hasn't played that many games but has played many years.
And throwing the ball well because he's getting protection. Watch Joe Phillips, 75 on Olin Kreutz inside. Kreutz just locked out, stays nice and low. And then it's just face mask, and then just keep on going. Little arm bar, they're going to talk to each other. A little bit of wrestling going on. Just talking to Kreutz the other night. He was telling us how he loves to wrestle and get the jiu-jitsu and karate and all that stuff.
He said wrestling, he won you over. I know it didn't take long for that, man.
You know, the man he's got that build. And he plays with great leverage. And reminds me of Hilgenberg, who used to play here, who played with the same kind of leverage. And it's all in hits. And you see this, see that happy face, and he's a happy-go-lucky guy, and he's fun to be around. But he gets on the field, and he gets maniacal. And that's the part that I really like about him, because he plays with great heart.
2nd and 10. Out of the shotgun, good protection, and the pass thrown to Ingram underneath. Flag is down at the 31. Ingram is tackled about 3 yards shy of the first down.
Miller's looking tough here, isn't he?
Well, you mentioned Jim Miller may play the best. It'll be a illegal use of the hands against the Bears.
Illegal use of the hands to the face. 78 offense.
That was Blake Brockemeyer.
Replay 2nd down.
Watch Brockemeyer working up top against Chris Dolman. There he goes, right inside. He gets hands, and he counters with a face. That's what it is. He caught him in hands right into the face, where he counters that throw by Dolman.
So 2nd and 20, back to the 40-yard line. Miller under some pressure, and the pass up the middle, and it's caught at the 20-yard line by Marty Booker. That was a very difficult catch in the middle of the field with several white jerseys in the neighborhood, including rookie Chris Rogers. How Booker caught it, I don't know.
Well, I don't even know if Booker is if that's who was supposed to be going to. That's a great throw, because it looks like he overthrew 2 to get to 1. Miller has been throwing really, really well here in this game. This first half, he's been coming right at you.
And Foch Fazio's defensive unit sending pressure on as they measure for the first down, and the Bears have the first down. That was a big pass play, Matt, on 2nd and 10, following the illegal use of the hands penalty. And Jim Miller, as you pointed out, Miller was playing the best in preseason and completed 75% of his passes. Shane Matthews put on the big spurt toward the end and won the job, but Miller today having a terrific game. 14 of 18 and 2 touchdown passes. And the 2-minute warning here at Soldier Field in Chicago. Bears threatened in a 14-14 game. And Chris, scores and highlights on our Fox Sports ticker. We'll have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report. There's Caden McDowell, who has a brace on a sprained knee, would only back up today. Jim Miller, if Miller gets hurt. 2 minutes to go in the first half. A pump fake, and here's Marcus Robinson, but a little beyond his reach, incomplete, and it was Kenny Wright, the rookie from Northwest Louisiana, on the coverage.
Miller has not only been throwing the ball well, he's been in command of this offense. He's been checking a lot of things off at the line of scrimmage, and that time he had him. He did the pump fake again. Wright bit. Robinson got on top, and the ball came. I'm not sure he didn't get away with one right here. Watch Wright try to recover. Yeah, he grabbed that left arm. They let it go.
5 wide receivers lined up on 2nd and 10, and the quick this time to Glenn Milburn, and the Vikings are right there. And it was Jimmy Hitchcock, and close to a late hit. It looked like Hitchcock out of bounds, but no flags thrown.
Hitchcock made the tackle. The guy who made the play there was Ed McDaniel. Remember, we talked about the adjustment that had to be made by Minnesota on that kind of play. McDaniel came from the inside out that time. They've been trying to get to the middle of the field, and Ed McDaniel said, no, not this time. You got us twice, you're not going to get it again.
3rd down and 6.
Bears will come back to that playbook.
And there's the pump fake again, and the pass thrown down onto the ground, and it was John Randall who put major pressure on Jim Miller to bring up 4th down.
Well, yeah, we talked about this all game long, and they've been able to stay with him pretty much, but, you know, the thing with John Randall is you have to stay with him all game long. This time he's working to Chris Valerio, and he's able to get some pressure off the top corner. Clemens also is right there, but Randall hit the throwing elbow and forced this field goal.
Randall picking up his 100th career sack last week against Dallas, and now Chris Boniel, who has struggled attempting a 34-yard field goal. Good snap, and the kick by Boniel is good. So Boniel, who breathed easy after Brian Robinson's block kick, can breathe easy again. It is now 17-14 in favor of the Bears. An 11-play, 69-yard scoring drive capped by Chris Boniel's 34-yard field goal. Boniel now kicking off. Tate and Williams back deep for the Vikings. And it'll be Tate. Flag is down. Robert Tate returning. And brings it out to the 27, pending the yellow marker.
It looked like somebody in the front line of the Minnesota Vikings ran forward. I didn't get that one. Yeah.
I think you're right, Matt. Good move.
Right here, watch this. Hey, you got to have 10 yards right there, and he didn't. I don't know what would possess somebody to do that other than not understanding the rules of the game. He got hooked on that one.
Offside, receiving team. That penalty is declined. 1st down.
Well, tonight on Fox, the truth will either change Agent Mulder or destroy him. Don't miss the powerful conclusion to the season premiere, The X-Files, an all-new episode tonight at 9, 8 Central on Fox. Well, the Vikings starting from the 27, and they still have 2 timeouts remaining, trailing by 3. Jeff George will operate out of the shotgun. Pressure picked up, and the quick toss out to the tight end Andrew Glover, and Andrew Glover goes out of bounds with 55 seconds showing on the clock, picking up 2 yards.
By Will Harris. A gain of 2 in the completion, 2nd and 8, and the Vikings 29.
David Dixon, who had been replaced by Corbin Lucina at right guard, back in the game on 2nd and 8. And here comes the corner blitz and the pass, and Chris Carter can't hold on. He was open, and he rarely misses those. But coming into this series, it's been a big day for Chris Carter, scoring 2 touchdowns. The first on a 21-yard laser throw by Jeff George. And here is the score. Beating Parrish, the safety, who played pretty well, and then Carter with an acrobatic move for the 2nd touchdown.
Yeah, and this is the player just with great awareness, and he'd like to have that last throw back because you can make all the catches up, but when you have to have them big like that right there and you drop it, that just eats at you.
3rd down and 8, and Jeff George is sacked back at the 20-yard line. And that is the 2nd time that the Bears have gotten to Jeff George. Well, they're sending everybody in at number 3.
Yeah, including Frankie Smith, 29, off the corner. Again, we talked about awareness. This is just David Dixon. Now, he's getting out there. Just forced him, Jeff George, to have to step up, and then they came from the other side.
So 4th down coming up, and 46 seconds remaining in the half. And keep in mind that the Bears have all 3 of their timeouts remaining.
Bears have played very well here in this first half.
You know, I think a lot of it comes from the character of Dick Duran, who is a very steady, no frills, low key
to the
head
point.
coach.
Lets you know exactly where you stand, doesn't play any games. As a player, look, you just want to know what the skinny is. Just let me know where I stand, and then be honest. If you got that, that's half the battle.
Glenn Milburn, who is 5th in the league in punt returns, back deep, and Mitch Berger. Believe me, don't be fooled by that average. He's been kicking into the wind, and there's been very few return yardage against Mitch Berger thus far today. But he'll be kicking from inside his 10. Lofted in the air, and Milburn on the run at the 40-yard line. Glenn Milburn into Viking territory, and finally put down with authority by Keith Thibodeau at the 35-yard line. A return of 25 yards by Glenn Milburn, and the Bears in Viking territory now.
Oh, watch David Tate working outside on Walt Harris. Just keeps on fighting his way through it. And then there goes Milburn. And he almost quite has him. And then right at the end, Thibodeau just puts a little bit of an exclamation point on it. That's an excellent job by Tate of staying with the coverage.
And the Bears calling a timeout. Glenn Milburn, who returned 3 kicks for touchdowns last year. And the Bears threatening on the Viking 35. Jim Miller has had an outstanding first half, going up the middle to Bobby Ingram. Fumble. And the ball is recovered by the Bears, and it looks like Todd Perry, number 75, the left guard, and that will force Chicago to call its second timeout.
See how Miller ran over there to make sure they had the ball, and as soon as he saw that Todd Perry had it, he called himself the timeout. That was a good job. I'm impressed with Miller here. Remember, we said right at the start of the game that coming out of training camp, the players thought their best chance to win wasn't with Cade McNown or Matthews. It was this guy, Jim Miller. They liked what he had. And today's first half, I mean, that's as good as any game. He's had a tremendous first half here. And more than the throwing, Dick, what's impressed me is that when he's got his hands under center, he's in control. Because he's checked off a lot of times at the line of scrimmage, and he's seen the whole field. He's scanned things, the play to Edgar Bennett outside. It's all been impressive.
Well, we talked to the Bears, and they told you they really believe in this guy.
Yes.
2nd and 10 at the 35. 270 yards passing by Miller today. More than the Bears have gotten in the game in just a half. Miller drills it up the middle. It's deflected, intended for Ingram, and nearly picked off by Robert Griffith. So Miller, not known for his throwing arm, really drilled that down the middle, but it'll bring up 3rd down and 10.
He's got himself a strong arm. That's the one thing they really liked about him. What he doesn't have is great mobility in the pocket. But this isn't a bad idea to go down the middle of the field right here. You had 15 seconds. You still had another timeout. Just came away. It was well defended. And actually, Griffith almost had himself had a pick.
Bears well out of field goal range right now. 3rd and 10. Miller's pass, and it is caught by Wetnight, and Ryan Wetnight gets the first down with 10 seconds to go inside the 25-yard line. Kenny Wright was defending on the play.
You know who made a great play right there? Robinson. Marcus Robinson came back and made the block that allowed him to make the first down, because if Robinson doesn't block Hitchcock, it's tackled short.
So now you figure the Bears may have one play before they still have a timeout left as well to try to get field goal.
Now watch the block right here. Stays with it and just gets his hands on it, and that allowed Wetnight to be able to get up there and make the first down. Yeah, you take your shot, you can use the whole field.
Block the factor at the 24-yard line. Miller's pass, and it's intercepted off the hands of Ingram by Jimmy Hitchcock. So the Bears taking one shot to get it closer for Chris Bonio, come up empty, and turn it over for the second time.
Well, he had Ingram too, but he threw the ball behind him and it went off Ingram's hands, and Hitchcock just happened to be there. was well protected. He had time. Knew where he wanted to go. There it was, right there. And the ball was thrown behind, and Hitchcock it just happened to float to him.
He had 7 interceptions last year, did Jimmy Hitchcock, and finally picked one off last Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys. He now has 2 in 2 games. And with 4 seconds to go, the Vikings will run out the clock. But first things first, Jimmy Hitchcock beaten on the long touchdown pass to Marcus Robinson, 77 yards to start the scoring.
There's a review on the field.
So before they get the play off, the officials, it's not the Bears, but it's the officials, because it's inside 2 minutes for go in either half. So the officials upstairs will check and
see if Hitchcock may be caught it or not.
Bill Carollo, the referee, will make the ultimate decision.
There's the tip. And Hitchcock's going to come in right at the end.
Question is, did he have possession, or did the ball hit the ground? This is a big call as far as this game is concerned, because it would give Bears new life if it's reversed.
You're not going to be able to tell with indisputable visual evidence.
Jerry Markbright, who longtime referee in the National Football League, is part of the crew.
Replay guy. He retired last year from the field, and they threw him up here in the booth. That's what happens when you can't do it anymore. Down the field, they throw you in the booth.
It hasn't been all that bad for you.
It's been great. Kidding me? They pay me to do this? It's unbelievable. I'm going to watch these things anyway.
Remember, indisputable visual evidence to reverse the call. Here's Bill Carollo.
After reviewing the play stands as called. Interception, Minnesota ball.
There's the tip. It just goes back, and I guess it's a good call. They think it's good. You know what? I agree with you.
You've always been right.
Yeah.
Now they run out the clock. And that is the end of the first half. With the score, the Bears 17 and the Vikings 14. Stay tuned for the Visa Halftime Report with JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. For 200 yards in a game in the same season, Cade McDown, Shade Matthews, and now Jim Miller, who really has looked poised with 2 long touchdown passes to give the Bears some impetus.
He has been throwing the ball extremely well, number 1. He's been in control of the offense, number 2. And most importantly, and this has been something that's been missing from this Bears offense, he's been not afraid to push the ball down the field. Remember, since they lost Curtis Conway, they really haven't pushed the ball down the field deep. But in today's game, they've gone over 20 yards. You can see right here 4 times. They got the 6 points out of the big one to Marcus Robinson, but he's not been afraid to use the whole field, and that's impressive. And I think the other thing that's impressed me here, you know, I was talking to Otis Wilson, the former great Chicago Bear linebacker in that 46 defense, and he was just saying they just are playing with great confidence. And he said they're having fun playing, and I think it shows.
And right now, let's go down to Pam Oliver. Pam?
All right, thanks a lot, Dick. Talked to both coaches at halftime. First, Dick Duran, who had a pretty short list of complaints because he's basically happy with the team's overall effort. What he wants to see, he wants to get back to running the ball more and, of course, eliminate the big mistakes. Dennis Green says that he wants to go after them more offensively, attack them in a better way. Back to you.
And, of course, Pam, thank you very much. That's what the Vikings always want to do when they can, but the turnover resulting in the touchdown is the interception. And you look at the halftime statistics. You mentioned, when was the last time the Bears had 300 yards total offense in the first half?
Yeah, well, and look at this right here. The 280 of passing. They really haven't run the ball very well in the first half, but Jim Miller's been the key. And I think until they can get consistent pressure on him, that's not going to change because they really haven't gotten to Jim Miller.
Jeff George, 11 of 18, but he'll have to sit a while before the opportunity to lead the Vikings offense as the kickoff bouncing and fielded by Glenn Milburn. And Milburn dives forward to the 32-yard line. You talked about the fact that the Bears haven't run much. Curtis Enos, their leading ball carrier, with 28 yards and 8 carries.
They really haven't attempted that much also. That's the biggest thing. But one thing that the Minnesota Vikings have got to be able to do, and they said coming into this game that they were going to try to pressure Jim Miller, and the offensive line's done a good job of keeping him protected, and because of that, you've seen the 280 yards of passing.
John Allred, a tight end, is in the slot to the left, first down. Allred then shifted back to fullback to a block for Enos, and Enos picks up maybe a yard or two with Chris Dolman right in there.
You mentioned, Dick, earlier about this being a young team, and they really are a young team, the Chicago Bears. This kid, Curtis Enos, is going to be special because he right now is not 100%. Valerial's made the switch. Cruz is inside. They have some, Todd Perry, they have some good young players, but they're going to continue to get better. And when Curtis Conway comes back, they'll be even better.
There's the fake, and Dolman got a hand on the pass by Miller. Chris Dolman maybe playing his best game since he came out of retirement to join the Vikings. A pat on the back for Miller. Goes as an incomplete pass.
Well, again, this goes back to awareness. He feels it right away. By the time he can square his shoulders, he's going to throw back inside, then Dolman gets his hands up and knocks it down.
Dolman arriving in Minnesota, they moved John Randall from tackle to defensive end.
Right now, he's inside at tackle, and I personally think he's better inside. I'd keep him inside.
Third down and 8. And sitting down, Marcus Robinson makes the catch, but well short of the first down. He was short by 5 yards, unless the Bears had a mind to catch and go. Not there, and so fourth down coming up. Jimmy Hitchcock on the coverage, and so Todd Sauerbrunn in to kick it away for the Bears, who will be kicking. There's Robert Tate. David Palmer, their outstanding return man, lost for the season, undergoing knee surgery. Another short kick into the wind, and the Vikings let it bounce, and it will be down at the 27-yard line. Well, the Bears have a shot. Now the Vikings get the ball back, trailing by 3.
Working outside, right there on Robert Griffith, gives him the shot and then gets on back into it. And at the end of that, they pat each other on the back, saying, when you like to whack somebody, you appreciate a good hit.
Jeff George on first down completes to Chris Carter. And Carter trying to outrace the Bears defense, but finally catching up to him is Walt Harris, as Chris Carter, who already has scored 2 touchdowns today, makes a catch and run and catches in 68 yards.
Just is able to get to the inside right there, apparently. Once he gets to the inside, then he hits the burst. Now, if this were Randy Moss, he'd still be running. But Walt Harris is able to catch up to him and make this play, but not after a major gain and a big start here in the second half by Chris Carter.
Remember what Denny Green told to Pam Oliver? He says, we got to come out and attack, and that's what they do on that play. So it's first down. And the swing pass to Randy Moss, diving over and stopped before he gets to the goal line.
Now, Dick, if that was Chris Carter, he'd be in the end zone. It's just a case of one not having what the other one has. What Chris Carter has is that big physical strength to be able to carry him into the end zone. And what Moss has is the great speed, but he just couldn't quite beat that crotch tackle. That's a tough tackle to beat.
Randall McDaniel is going in, is in the fullback position right now. Second and goal at the 1-yard line. And there is the fake, waiting for a receiver to get open. Nobody does. Flags are down, and finally Jeff George throws it away. Andrew Glover was in the back of the end zone, but the Bears did a good job of coverage. But let's see what the flag is about.
I think they must have held all the receivers at the line of scrimmage. Nobody was out.
Holding 96 defense.
Clyde Simmons.
Half the distance in the goal. Automatic first down.
Well, Clyde Simmons
The holding penalty gives the Vikings.
That's right up top here. Yeah, that's what they're going to call. Now, yeah, that was Clyde. That was a nice tackle, too. He's going to make sure this guy wasn't getting out.
He had no one to throw to, but as a result of the penalty, half the distance, first and goal at the 1. The flip to Leroy Horde, and Horde is knocked back. A loss on the play, and Clyde Simmons right in the middle of that one. So Simmons coming right back and making a big play, bringing up second and goal.
You know, one thing I don't understand, you take Leroy Horde as a power guy, and you flip him the ball, try to get outside. He's no dancer. Keep him between the tackles, keep his shoulders square. You have Randall McDaniel in the backfield who can run, who's a powerful guy. Run behind him. Make it be power on power.
Second and goal, Klein, Sasser, and McDaniel are blocking back. And here is Horde upended and loses yardage back to the 6. And Ray Austin, the backup safety, making the play. And now the Vikings face third and goal from the 6.
That was a great play. Great play by Austin off the corner.
And
Forrest is going to set up this third and goal, but nobody blocked him. I mean, nobody had him, and Parrish came off the other side, and it's going to set up this third down. The bad news is he got Chris Carter on the field again.
And Carter goes in motion. And the rollout, and Jeff George was tripped up and is down, and a fumble on the play, and let's see the official signal. Well, Flanagan have it.
Flanagan has it. Corbin Lucina was in there as a backup. Jeff Christie, I don't know who stepped on whom. Let's watch.
Ball just came out of George's hands, it seemed.
Well, he got tripped up by Lucina, who was in at left guard. He tripped up Jeff George, and then the ball just flopped around, and Flanagan, being the good wrestler that he is ripped it right out of his hands. They're going to call him down.
Chicago, the defense was down by contact. Chicago ball, first down, timeout.
So the second turnover of the game by the Vikings, and this one really stings because they were seemingly headed in for a score.
Quarterback recovered the ball before 99. Chicago recovered the ball. After reviewing the play stands is called. It's a fumble. Chicago's ball. First down. Minnesota is charged with the timeout. That's the team's first charge timeout.
So the fumble and recovery by the Bears stands, and the Bears get the ball on the 14-yard line. And Dennis Green's Vikings, after the big play to Chris Carter and got first and goal, come up empty. And the Bears with a 3-point lead, and it was Jim Flanagan who made the recovery after Brian Robinson on the push.
That's a great play by Robinson.
Great play by him, yes.
You just get that push. Lucina just couldn't stop him. And he just got forced back into George, and that forced the fumble.
Brian Robinson, who was waived by the St. Louis Rams 2 years ago and has already paid a lot of dividends for the Bears. First down on the 14. Curtis Enos gets tripped up and gets about 8 or 9 yards on first down, with Robert Griffith making the play.
By Jimmy Hitchcock. A gain of 9. Second and 1 is the 23.
Enos, who came into the game with more carries than any other running back in the NFC, has rushed for only 10 times thus far, but it's second down and 1 here at the 23. And they go to Enos again, and Enos charging forward, has the first down for the Bears. Dwayne Clemens on the play. Clemens, by the way, fined this week $7,500 for his unfortunate hit into the groin of Flozell Adams of the Cowboys, and Clemens was quick to say he was sorry and would have apologized at the time. Very unfortunate that He was spotted in that maneuver.
It's not even
to put it delicately.
Yeah, that's
trying to be as delicate as possible.
That's and it wasn't a delicate area where he whacked him. That's for sure.
First down for the Bears on the 24. Big handoff to Enos, and the pass to Wetnight, and the Bears tight end with a flag thrown is tackled at the 30-yard line by Kenny Wright.
To Ryan Wetnight. Brought down by Wright. There was a flag
And the penalty will be against the Bears.
Pass interference, 84, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
Must be a pick, John Allred. Yeah, see what's happening? It's a pick, and he's also blocking while you can't do that. He's trying to pick Dwayne Rush where that ball's thrown, and they caught him.
First and 20, the Bears' 7th penalty of this game. Play fake, Jim Miller rolling out, chased by Randall, and the pass incomplete, and over the head of Marcus Robinson. Right now, let's check in with James Brown in Los Angeles. JB?
Dick and Matt, not only the offense of St. Louis get it done, take a look at the defense. Number 52 for St. Louis, Mike Jones strips the ball, fumble recovery, he picks it up, 37 yards, pay dirt, 6 return touchdowns on the season for St. Louis, 2 today, and St. Louis on top, 28-10 over Carolina. Dick and Matt.
Trying to rebound from a 2-game losing streak, and a lot of people say they're going to have home field when division playoffs come with their schedule. Here is the screen pass intended for Robinson, and it is dropped by Marcus Robinson, bringing up 3rd and long.
That was that same play. Remember I said in the first half, you're going to see that play again. They did a good job. Again, they come back to it. But I want you to watch the transition. Dwayne Clemens coming from the inside out. They had him on a zone blitz. He dropped the ball, and had he held on to that, he may have dropped it anyway because Clemens drew a beat on him fast. He caught him in the zone blitz, and Clemens dropped out of there and instinctively turned to the inside. Did a nice job getting back there.
So 3rd and 20. And an empty backfield. Pressure put on, and Miller zings it downfield, and Marcus Robinson has it knocked away by Jimmy Hitchcock. So Hitchcock tightening the defense on Marcus Robinson, and 4th down coming up.
This was almost a completion. I've seen more 3rd and longs and 4th and longs turn into complete. He threw it up high and gave Robinson a chance to go up and get it, but Hitchcock does a good job of getting his hand on it. I've seen more things this year, the screwiest plays, that you go, no, there's no way they're going to make that, and they come down with it.
In a topsy-turvy season. Looking at the teams that are the leaders now. So Todd Sauerbrunn kicking, nearly blocked, and the Vikings looking at good field position. The ball goes out of bounds in their territory. And the Minnesota Vikings down by 3 will have the ball at the 45 of Chicago when we come back. Doubleheader except in Chicago. Packers and Cowboys. Some of you will see the Lions and the Cardinals. Jason Garrett, the backup quarterback with Troy Aikman out maybe 3 weeks. But 5-2 record career-wise as a starter. Chris Warren, the running back for Emmitt Smith. Matthew Hatchett, when they've gone to 3 wide receivers, has been in there lately, and he's got some possibilities. Meanwhile, Robert Smith with good peekaboo running picks up about 7 yards on the play. But Hatchett, as you talked about, a threat as a young wide receiver on this team.
Peekaboo running. Now, I don't think I've ever seen anybody play peekaboo in the National Football League.
When you're behind a blocker and you're peeking behind.
But you can't. Did somebody say peekaboo? I see you.
It might have happened down there.
I don't think so.
2nd and 3 at the 38. Jeff George looking both ways, and the pass low intended for Glover, and defending was Chris Hudson on the play. So it'll be 3rd down for the Vikings, who trail 17-14.
Jake Reed, no catches with his coat and a big drop, and I believe that's the reason why he's there on that sideline, and they're going to give Matthew Hatchett a chance to play. And that's unfortunate because Jake Reed was on his way. And but right now, hey, you're in a stretch run. You have to make plays. You can't afford to have consistently dropping ball. The receiver consistently dropping it.
3rd and 3. And here's the pressure coming in on Jeff George from the secondary, but he swings it out to John Henry Mills. And Mills with the first down inside the 30-yard line, brought down by Jim Flanagan, doing a good job of getting downfield, and a gain of 10 yards. But the Vikings moved the change with under 7.5 minutes to play in the 3rd.
And that's one thing that Jim Flanagan will always give you. You have to remember, Flanagan's an athlete. He was a running back in high school and ran for some good yardage. He just kept on growing when he was at the Dome down in Notre Dame. Now he'll give you great hustle. He has a good motor. It's a big play by him to come back to make that.
First down on the 28, looking Hatchett's way, and now Jeff George being rushed and gets the pass off to Randy Moss, who makes a good catch on the low throw. Good ad-lib play there, and a gain of 8 yards. Walt Harris covering Moss.
This guy, Matthew Hatchett, is a guy who has great confidence. He wants the ball. Right prior to the snap, he put his hand up, and Jeff George did look his way. But once he saw that he was covered, George bailed out to the right and came back and found, again, Moss coming back to the ball. It's an excellent job of going back to the ball and help the quarterback.
This team can ad-lib as well as anyone offensively. 2nd and 2. And here is Robert Smith trying to get the second effort. Does not make the first down. Still shy as Tony Parrish, the strong safety, comes up to meet him. Smith has gained about 38 yards on 9 carries in his return after missing 3 games with a sports hernia surgery. And he came back as soon as anyone anticipated. They said it could have been as many as 6 weeks.
Yeah, but he doesn't look like the Robert Smith that I saw before. He's dancing a little bit. Actually, I think the defensive front, again, that was Robinson up front, doing a good job of controlling the line of scrimmage. They really haven't gotten the big holes you'd expect.
3rd and 2. Only one wide receiver. Leroy Hoard is hit and knocked back by Barry Minter. And the Vikings appear short, and they are stopped on 3rd down. And thus the Bear defense playing well. You pointed it out early.
You know what this is coming? This is the Bear deep. Watch this. Watch the defensive front. Look where the line of scrimmage is. The line of scrimmage is on this side of the ball. Nice job right there by Sean Harris, who takes on John Henry Mills and redirects the ball carrier to have to go to the left, and then he's stuck.
38-yard attempt for Gary Anderson into the wing to try to tie the game. And the kick is good. So Gary Anderson, who is used to kicking in the comfort of the indoors of the Metrodome, ties this game at 17-all.
By SAP, one-step business over the internet. By MGM Pictures, the wait is over, the world is yours. Pierce Brosnan is James Bond, and the world is not enough, rated PG-13. And by Chrysler, giving you back the romance of driving.
3 minutes, 32 seconds.
Vikings and Bears all tied at 17 following Gary Anderson's 38-yard field goal. Under 5 minutes to go in the 3rd.
Bears are still playing. I think the Bears are playing really good. I think it's a combination of things, specifically up front. Their defensive line, which doesn't really have any real name guys who you'd think of, they're just giving great effort. And I think, again, that goes back to Dick Jauron. He has them playing really hard. They always did. I mean, he did under Wannstedt as well. This Bear team has always played hard.
Mitch Berger needing Orlando Thomas to hold for him because of the wind. Gets off a short end-over-end kick. And on the run, Glenn Milburn returning. And spins away from a potential tackle. And a great return when you look at it, as brings it out to the 41-yard line, and a flag honoring the late Walter Payton at half-staff at Soldier Field.
A return of
It's,
25 yards.
Again, talking to Otis Wilson at halftime, he just mentioned how Walter's death brought this city together and also brought the teams, the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s players together as well. And And that's the kind of place, that's the kind of guy that Walter was.
Bears' first game since the death of Walter Payton is here at Soldier Field. Play fake. Jim Miller dumps it out to Edgar Bennett, who's tackled immediately for a minimal gain by Jimmy Hitchcock.
I like Edgar Bennett. I think Edgar Bennett isn't used enough. And part of it is Curtis Enos, and part of it is the offense. Glenn Milburn's that specialized kind of back, but Edgar Bennett's always been a player. He's also been one of those players that gets better as the game went on.
He was a mutter at old Lambeau Field,
He
right?
still is, yeah. He always played well in bad weather. Here's Miller again, changing at the line of scrimmage.
Second down and 8. Curtis Enos off left tackle. First down for the Bears into Viking territory. And a gain of 8 yards. Dwayne Rudd finally on the stop. Good running by Curtis Enos.
And getting the help out of Edgar Bennett. But Curtis Enos is just, Edgar Bennett gives it on Orlando Thomas, does a nice job of cutting him. This Curtis Enos is a powerful guy. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how hard it is to be effective coming off the knee. Most guys take at least 2 years before they're back.
48 yards and 12 carries for Enos. First down for the Bears. And they go right back to Enos. And this time, blocking falls down up front. And the Vikings with great pressure led by Ed McDaniel and a loss of 4.
Now they brought a blitz. McDaniel read it perfectly and just jumped in that gap and forced him to come outside. And then Dolman eventually made the tackle, but McDaniel made the play. Ed McDaniel's always been such an instinctive player. Guy who sees everything real well and works well off the guys in front of him. Not a real big guy. It's a problem if somebody gets on him, but he runs well, moves well, and reads extremely well.
And he's come back from serious knee surgery. Second and 12, up the middle, caught by Bobby Ingram. And Ingram to the 44, still short of the first down by 5. Robert Griffith is right there, and Ingram has been kind of like the safety valve receiver for Jim Miller today.
Not a real fast guy, excellent hands, runs decent routes. He doesn't really scare you, but if you forget him, he'll beat you. And Bobby Ingram has very sure hands. And it kind of reminds me of O.J. McNuffie, another Penn State guy.
Exactly.
Same kind of guy.
There's a pass to Ingram on the outside, and he lost possession, but did he have it enough to get the first down?
He stuck his hand out. He stuck the ball out. Did you see that thing?
Yes, he did, but I don't think he got the first.
It doesn't look like it. And there's a Viking down right on the sideline.
Wayne Rudd apparently is shaken up on the sideline. Here it is.
Rudd goes flying in. Now watch him switch the hands, and he tries to push the ball out in front of him. Where the ball is when you go out, not where you go out.
Big Cat Williams also.
You hear the crowd? They're cheering. They just announced that Dwayne Rudd was the guy who was down. And they got a little bit of a cheer, and that goes back to when he taunted this Bear team. This crowd hasn't forgotten either.
There it is last season, and it was Steve Stenstrom. Remember, it was John Randall who sat on him at picking up the fumble. Going the rest of the way was Dwayne Rudd taunting the Bears. They haven't forgotten, and there is Ed McDaniel and John Randall on Stenstrom. And so Dwayne Rudd on the sideline now. 4th down and 1 for the Bears. And the handoff flag is down. And it was Enos diving for the first down, but there's a penalty marker down and movement against the Bears. So that'll go against Chicago, and that'll bring up a 4th and 6.
It's like they got a little bit of a lean out of Curtis Enos right before the ball was snapped.
Illegal motion, 44, offense. 5-yard penalty, replay 4th down.
So 4th down coming up, and Todd Sauerbrunn will come in to kick it away for the Bears, who are going into the wind and did not make it. Here it is.
Yeah, here he is, right here. Right before the ball snapped, he gets a little bit of lean going. It just kind of caught it.
Well, that's minuscule.
It was. From that angle, you don't see it as well. I was standing right on the side, and I kind of saw it out of the corner of my eye.
Sauerbrun's kick, and Robert Tate looking up into the sun, calls for the fair catch at the 15. So, minute 25 to go in the third quarter, all tied at 17 in the rematch between these teams. Jeff George's pass way short for Randy Moss, and it was Walt Harris covering on the play. Well, you've been talking about the Bears defense all day. Last series.
Well, they've been tough all game long, and they've been taking away the primary receiver on that one, forced him to go to the secondary, and then it just turned into a tough, just physical defense. One set of downs that was won by the defensive front of the Chicago Bears.
They have caused a lot of problems for a prolific Viking offense. Now 2nd and 10. Jeff George for the play-action pass, and Chris Carter, the intended receiver.
That's a reception. Did you see that?
And
nice job back there.
Right now, let's check in while we look at Mr. Rogers. Let's check in with Mr. Brown in L.A.
Dick and Matt, Washington was up 21-10 in the second, but look at the Eagles as they come back. Donovan McNabb hands off to Deuce Staley. Anthony Cook misses a tackle. Derek Smith misses one. He takes it to pay dirt. McNabb with the 2-point conversion. Philadelphia up 24-21. Big Stockton, Matt Miller.
Deuce Staley is having himself a Pro Bowl year. He's having a phenomenal year on a severely average team.
3rd down and 10 with 1:12 to go in the third quarter. And delay of the game. You saw the play clock run down to 0, and so 5 yards will be marched off against the Vikings.
Dick, did you see that completion on the last play to Chris Wright? He was a little out of bounds.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
But he was all alone. No one near him.
Yeah, I tell you. He beat the coverage. He was out there all by himself. Jeff George, you see, he's over there talking to the official saying, look, I can't get this call. And he's trying to get the crowd noise thing, but it didn't happen. And then the clock ran down, and they're going to have to eat 5 yards.
They're bringing up 3rd and 15. Blitz coming from the outside, and the pass is incomplete down the middle. And a big blitz by Warwick Holdman, a 4th-round draft pick from Texas A&M, and one of the 10 first-year players on this Bear team.
Holdman comes, and also inside Hudson comes, but it's the pressure by Holdman. It doesn't allow Jeff George to get the full throw on the ball, and it just kind of flops around. They like Holdman. They think he's going to be a good one.
And Greg Blaise, the defensive coordinator, really dialing up the numbers today for the Bears. And now punting on 4th down from the end zone is Mitch Berger. And a booming kick by Berger. And it's Milburn on the return. Milburn is stopped at the 45-yard line in Viking territory. And right now, let's go down. Pam Oliver is with former Bear great Richard Dent.
All right, a legend as well. Richard, let's talk about the Bears. A lot of people are surprised at how well they're playing, but what's your assessment of this team?
Well, I think, you got a new leadership, on the defensive side. You look at a guy like Greg Blaise. I think, the Bears got a future here. I mean, you got some great ball players there that they just brought in this year, and I think another ball player or two on defense. I think we got a future here, maybe get back to the Super Bowl.
The death of Walter Payton still very much on the minds of Chicagoans here. Tell me some of your thoughts, how you remember him.
Well, looking out on the field and just coming off the sideline, taking a knee and watching Walter do his thing is something that you enjoy. When you watch a guy like that go to work, you just can't wait to get out on the field and try to explore the same energy that Walter used to give us.
The spirit is still with us. Back up to you, Doug.
Thank you, Pam. Curtis Enos going outside and wending his way for about 2 yards on the play with Robert Griffith making the tackle. Connie Payton, the widow of Walter, said that all of the tributes made it easier to handle the tragedy, still in shock. And her son Jared, who she said never watches a full game, watched the full game and was so proud of the Bears because he thought that they showed the pride that that his father had.
He also wore his number 34 yesterday.
Yes. 2nd and 8 for the Bears. Swing pass to Enos. And Enos is stopped at the 40-yard line, still 5 yards shy of the first down, and that will be the last play of the 3rd quarter. And that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score, the Vikings 17, the Bears 17. Fox NFL Sunday will continue right after these messages. Both of these teams have been locked in close battles this year. Minnesota 7 games and games decided by 7 or fewer. The Bears 4 wins by a grand total of 10 points. 3 of their losses by 12 points. So no surprise, we're all even. 3rd down and 4 at the 39. Clemens trying to put pressure on, and the pass thrown underneath to Brian Wetnight. Oh, and it's ruled a catch.
Is it catch?
And it may be a first down.
I thought Dwayne Rudd had hit him as he was falling, and they would mark. That's a pretty healthy spot right there.
Well, the Bears benefit. They get a first down to the Viking 35 now. He did not catch it.
Oh, he didn't catch that ball. And they're going to snap the ball quickly.
So they cannot have time to decide on a review as Curtis Enos carries. Clearly, Ryan Wetnight did not have possession of that pass resulting in a first down.
There's the ball. Here's Wetnight. There's the non-catch. And he wasn't touched anyway. But the Bears did a good job getting right to the line of scrimmage, snapping the ball, and forget it. It can't be reviewed.
If I'm the Vikings, I don't know whether I want to risk another timeout anyway.
You wouldn't.
They already challenged once and it failed. 2nd and 5. Jim Miller under siege, and down he goes. And Robert Griffith, the first one in. And that is the 3rd time the Vikings have gotten to Jim Miller today.
Robert Griffith again. Talk to him about being around the line of scrimmage, kind of like Leroy Butler. He has that same kind of feel. He just picks his spots. Actually, that's a nice job by John Randall, because John Randall was working over Wegman, and he actually took up Krutz, the center, and Wegman, and because of their paying attention to Randall, Griffith comes through and makes the tackle.
3rd and 14. A lot of receivers out, and the pass caught by Glenn Milburn, who is tackled, and looks like to be even beyond the field goal range of Bonio, especially even with the wind. And so it is 4th down with Ed McDaniel on the tackle, and Todd Sauerbrunn will come in and kick. Keep in mind that the Bears have the win at their backs here in this final quarter. Back deep for the Vikings is Robert Tate. Sauerbrunn trying to keep it in the field, and it takes a bounce for the Bears, and Ty Hallett downs it at the 3-yard line. So Sauerbrunn likes what he just got. Greg Blaich, and he was the vocal this week about not getting overconfident after their win over Minnesota.
He's done an excellent job here today.
First down for the Vikings on their 4.
A very good job of calling an aggressive game plan.
Robert Smith hit head on by Terry Cousins. Smith with his 11th carry, now with 48 yards on the day.
Don't look like Robert Smith. You know, they said something about, they called it a sports hernia. And I don't want to be funny, but I don't know what's the difference between a regular hernia and a sports hernia? I mean, I don't expect you to have that answer, but that's just, I ain't get it.
2nd and 4 on the 10-yard line, and here is Robert Smith. And Smith is down, bringing up 3rd down. No gain on that play, and that was Walt Harris. So the last 2 defensive plays by the Bears made by their secondary.
Well, Parrish is aggressive as well, and he's doing what Griffith is doing for the Minnesota Vikings. They have him at the line of scrimmage a bunch. They've brought him, both he and Hudson, a few times. Blaich has done a good job of bringing and mixing up his coverage to get pressure on Jeff George, and it's been effective in the run game as well.
3rd down and 4. That's Randy Moss going to the top. And on the design rollout, Jeff George pumps once and hits Randy Moss first down as he goes out of bounds just beyond the 15.
Dick, that play to Randy Moss was all about Chris Carter because they were 3-on-2. The two corners and the safety over the top on Carter and Moss. And so they're going to converge on Chris Carter. They're not going to let him catch the pass. You see all three of them there. Watch Walt Harris drop off. You have Harris there and also Cousin, and they left Randy Moss go underneath, and he picks up the first.
7 receptions for 80 yards for Randy Moss. First and 10 at the 16. And a quick out to Moss again, who was pushed out of bounds by Walt Harris. Gain of 2 yards. Of course, Randy Moss likes to prance downfield, put it up. I'll time my jump, as he has done, to gain a reputation as one of the more exciting players in the league.
Throw it up, dog. That's what he says.
Right.
Just throw it up, dog. I'll go get it. He's got great talent vertically down the field, and he can sure run. And they've been trying to take away that deep stuff with the safety, with the corner underneath.
Second down and 8, the short drop, and here is Andrew Jordan. And he is knocked out of bounds, but not before the Vikings pick up another first down. Walt Harris and Brian Robinson in on the play.
Brian Robinson's played pretty well today, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
And he runs pretty well outside. He's got some great push inside. He's made some plays. Made a play last week. Bears may have found something with him. Only his 3rd season. He's productive, and you can't beat productivity.
Now he gets off the field in time. Matthew Hatchett is the 3rd wide receiver in there for the Vikings. First down at the 29, but it's a running play to Robert Smith. And a good observation, because Robert Smith is the breakaway runner on this team, and this is the first game back, but he doesn't have that zip.
No, not at all. A little tentative. You know, he's a speed guy. Got some track in him. Track guy likes to get outside. He's most effective when you have people spreading the passing game, but you can bottle him up front and make him have to either lower his shoulders or make a move. He's not a move guy.
Hatchett to the bottom of the screen, defended by Tom Carter, the nickel corner. Second and 11. And a slant to Randy Moss. Moss in the open field. And he is hit twice, and it was Warwick Holdman who made the second hit, but here he just jumps up after a 27-yard gain into Bears territory.
Well, they're going to give him the cushion. They allowed him to get to the middle of the field. He finds the hole in that zone, and then watch Walt Harris. He grabs him, picks him up, and then Holdman puts the exclamation point on it. And really, this is what I don't see with Randy Moss. I don't see him take any hits. And this is probably as close to taking a shot as I've seen him.
His 4th 100-yard receiving game this year. On the 45-yard line, the pass caught by Carter, trying to get away, and gets only 2 yards. So the Minnesota Vikings in a key play. Remember, Jeff George tripped on his own left guard, driving for a score, and lost the ball, recovered by the Bears.
That after he had the big play to Chris Carter to the 7-yard line. Seemingly the Bears were going to get them. I mean, the Vikings were going to get themselves a big score, and they came away with nothing.
This is the 9th play of the drive that's exceeded 4.5 minutes. Second and 8.
Lucina now is in at the right guard for David Dixon.
It's tipped up in the air, and they had sent Frankie Smith. He started in on a blitz from like 15 yards back in the secondary, Matt.
He started that thing. You talk about telegraphing. You're going to see him coming right there. And you can't. He couldn't anticipate the throw. He just got his hands up. It's all he could do. Knocked that ball down. Frankie Smith, who used to watch out there in San Francisco as a San Francisco defensive back, in a tremendous special teams play.
The way he ran in, it was like, wait for me. Third down and 8. George drills it. And a flag down. Chris Carter was the intended receiver. Terry Cousin defending him. And that'll be a pass interference call against the Chicago Bears.
I'm liking this Terry Cousin, though. He may have gotten a flag,
Pass interference, 21, defense. Automatic first down.
He's not backing away from anyone. And he's been playing physical with physical, and he's staying right on him. That's a good call. Yeah, he disrobed him a little bit. Watch the left hand up on the shoulder, and then the right hand on the elbow. And they're going to call that. But, hey, he's not afraid. Go ahead and talk. He doesn't care. That's what I like about Cousin. He'll stand right up in your face and play the same game.
16-yard penalty. Leroy Horde is in at running back, and he tries to power his way forward and does exactly that, getting 5 yards. Cousin, by the way, starting his second straight week, replacing Carter, now the nickel back. Want to remind you, the second half of our Fox NFL doubleheader. For those of you except here in Chicago, the Packers and the Cowboys. Really critical game for both teams in their respective division battles. Some of you will see the Lions against the Cardinals with Gus Frerotte, the quarterback today for Detroit. Robert Smith back in, 2nd and 5. And they give it to Smith, trying to turn the corner. Robert Smith, first down and out of bounds at the 15. And the Vikings in a tie game and 7:18 to go with another threat here.
You know, John Lennon once said you get by with a little help from your friends. Well, Chris Carter is one of Robert Smith's friends. And when he decides to turn that corner and use his speed, his eyes turn downfield, and then you need help from your wide receivers. Chris Carter is working on Cousin, and he just stays on him. You don't have to overpower him. You just have to kind of get in the way, and just by doing that, he picked up another 5 yards.
First and goal from the 10. And the pass out to Randy Moss, and Moss trying to dive in, and they say his knee was down before he got into the end zone. Walt Harris defending on the play.
Good job. It's the second time they've gone to this play. Earlier in the game, they went to Chris Carter when they had the ball at the 7-yard line. And then this time, they go back outside. Now remember, it's where the ball is when your knee hits the ground. Right there. And so that's why they're not going to let it cross the plane and give it to him. So when his knee hit, the ball was right there at the 1-yard line.
2nd and goal. Pick. Carter. Touchdown. Carter timing his leap. Terry Cousin defending him, and who else but Chris Carter on those possession receive. That's his 3rd touchdown of the game.
And he's giving thanks to God, pointing to the sky, when he should also turn around and give thanks to Matthew Hatchett, because watch Hatchett down here. He's going to come down and get the pick, and that's going to allow him to come outside. See how Hatchett does it? Just enough to force him and allow him to get open.
And a flag is down. Gary Anderson is on the field, but a penalty marker was thrown after the touchdown.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 84. After the touchdown, the enforcement will be on the kickoff. Result of the play is touchdown.
Randy Moss called for the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Mad about something.
I don't think he just said throw it up dog either.
I don't think he did either.
Gary Anderson on to try to give the Vikings a 7-point lead, and he does. It's 24-17 in favor of the Minnesota Vikings, who take the lead for the first time today with 6:06 remaining in the 4th quarter.
I dropped my melon, and there was Bud. Wow. He's got the
score the Bears 10-0 in the second half and have their first lead of the game. Chris Carter, for the 3rd time in his career, with 3 touchdown catches in a game, and Randy Moss with 10, tying his career high for 118 yards. A great 1-2 punch.
And because of Moss's mistake, they'll kick off from the 15.
Mitch Berger will probably kick it in the end zone into the wind the way he's been going this year. Pretty good kick. Milburn at the 27-yard line returning and diving to midfield. So the Bears will have the ball at midfield, and this is the touchdown reception by Carter. He just wrestled it away from Cousin and Jeff George. He's thrown free today.
Faster, more reliable, higher quality, more profitable.
Spearheaded the Viking rally from a 17-point deficit against Dallas. Now with 3 touchdown catches, and keep in mind Randall Cunningham has played 4 more quarters than Jeff George this year, and George, Chris Carter, 33 catches and 8 touchdown passes, and as Carter says, George gets rid of it in a hurry. It's worked out between the two of them. First down at midfield, James Allen, the running back for the Bears. They trail by 7. Pump fake and a screen to Allen. And Allen is wrestled down after a couple of yards. And right now, for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Dick and Matt, the typical nip and tuck affair in Philadelphia with the Washington Redskins. Brad Johnson, play action, goes up top to Michael Westbrook. Westbrook, 2 catches for 91 yards on that drive. That one was 43 yards. Skins up by 1 with 6:02 left. Back to Dick and Matt.
It's amazing. Every time those teams play, it's that kind of game. And in Philly, Philly generally wins.
Second down, and the pass to Ingram is incomplete, bringing up 3rd down. And you're right about that rivalry. It doesn't matter who is strong and who is weak. Philadelphia and Washington always at Donnybrook.
Speaking of strong and weak, the one thing that this Minnesota Viking team has done with John Randall is they've moved them all up and down the line, which means that the Bears have to always be aware of it. And this generally has been what's happened to John Randall all game long. The Bear offensive line has done a great job of locating him and then also blocking him. We haven't heard much out of John Randall here today.
3rd down and 8. Milburn flanking to the left, and here's the inside screen to Marty Booker. And he is downed by contact. No fumble on the play, and so Booker is stopped short of the first down by a good yard with 5:02 to go, bringing up 4th down now.
Well, we said you're going to see that thing again, and they have. This is about the 4th or 5th time we've seen that screen. Now, Robert Griffith comes up and makes that tackle. And here's the key, remember, when the man is tackled and he falls, the ground can't cause the fumble. If nobody tackles him and he falls and it pops out, then it is a fumble.
So now the Bears go for it on 4th and 1. And it's a running play, and it's going to be a loss on the play. Curtis Enis had no chance, and Kylie Wong and company stormed in, and the 4th down play, and now Dwayne Rudd getting a measure of satisfaction with the Chicago crowd as the Minnesota Vikings will take over on downs.
Right there, the defensive front of Minnesota just stuffed them, and it made the rest of the boys very, very happy. We'll be right back. Watch Dwayne Rudd make this play inside, but what you may not see is John Randall holding off Big Cat Williams so he can't get down to block Rudd, and he's being double teamed. See this right there? That's a great job by John Randall of giving himself up to allow his teammate Dwayne Rudd to make the play. Something you don't see except, of course, well, you know, for Fox, we show it to you.
Our producer, Richard Zients, our director, Artie Kempner, and showing you where Randall lined up in the different spots just a few moments ago. Hasn't been all that effective as far as making the play. That was a key one to allow Rudd to make it.
It really is, and that's what happens. That's what I love about this game, because it's so interdependent. And sometimes, you know, that won't show up on a sheet for John Randall. It'll just say that he got blocked. But what it won't show is that he made the play that allowed Rudd to make the big tackle.
Big turnaround between the first half and the second half for the Vikings offense and their defense. Minnesota 2nd and 8. George looking for Glover, and the pass thrown behind him. That'll be 3rd down coming up.
One thing about Chris Carter is he brings all different facets of the game to every game. They give you the great hands. You can see that in a tremendous throw. Awareness of where he's at on the field at all times, and doing it under pressure, like that touchdown. And then, of course, he's got the spring to be able to jump to get up. He's got the whole package, and he unloaded that whole package on the Bears here today.
Tying a career high with 3 touchdown catches. Now Matthew Hatchett, the third receiver, on 3rd down, and this pass intended for Randy Moss bounces away, and Walt Harris step for step with Moss.
Used his
that
head
brings
on
up
that one,
4th down.
Yes, he did. Walt Harris used his head perfectly. In fact, because of the position of Harris in trailing him, the ball bounced right off his noggin.
And I'll tell you, if there was ever a time that the Bears defense needed a 3 and out at that time, that was it. As Mitch Berger will kick, still with 3:37 to go. Glenn Milburn goes back deep. The Bears will have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. And what has been a very well-played football game today. Short end over end. Milburn lets it bounce. And it will get inside the 15 where the Vikings will down it with 3:25 to go here in the 4th quarter. And to those of our viewers joining us, welcome to Soldier Field, Chicago, where the Bears and Vikings going at it in the rematch. The Bears beat the Vikings in Week 5, and it's 24-17 right now in favor of the Vikings. The go-ahead touchdown, Jeff George with a 1-yard pass to Chris Carter, who has tied a career high with 3 touchdown catches today. Jim Miller in his 2nd career start, having a brilliant day himself, and Carter having a day. It has been a tight battle, but the Bears trail with 3:25 to go, and the completed pass to Marcus Robinson, who earlier caught a 77-yard touchdown pass, and Miller also threw a touchdown strike to Marty Booker, 57 yards for another score.
As well as Miller played in the first half, he's got to play that much better right now, because all that's happened to this point doesn't mean anything. He's got to continue to be in control and make the good throws like he was making earlier in the game.
2nd down and 4, and they swing it out to Curtis Enos, and the fullback has the 1st down for the Bears, shy of the 25-yard line. Chris Rogers on the tackle. We're winding down to 3 minutes to go in the 4th. Dick Stockton along with Matt Millen and Cam Oliver, and the Bears trying to get to 500 on the year. They're 4-5. The Vikings 5-4.
Good patience here by Miller.
25, and the pass is complete to the 40. Bobby Ingram tackled by the rookie Kenny Wright, and a 1st down at the 40-yard line. Gain of 15.
Nice job again protecting, giving him time, and then he's nice and calm in the pocket. This kid, Miller, has really shown me something here today.
Been a journeyman, 28 years old after 3 unproductive years in Pittsburgh. 1st down, and this pass in traffic caught by Ryan Wetnight, and a gain of about 6 yards as we wind down to 2 minutes. Bears have all 3 of their timeouts remaining, and they need a touchdown and a conversion to tie the game. And they don't get it off. 2-minute warning coming up. Last time the Bears had the ball, Johnny Randall played big time. Here at Soldier Field in Chicago, and Dennis Green's Vikings know what it's like to see leads evaporate. A 4-point lead against the Packers, and a 3-point loss, and then against Gus Frerotte, the backup quarterback in the Lions, leading by 1, eventually losing by 2. And here's Jim Miller, who is the 3rd quarterback for the Bears this year. At the helm, 2nd down and 4 at the 46-yard line of the Bears, and the pass to Booker, and the rookie gets into Viking territory before Orlando Thomas makes the tackle at the 45. It's a 1st down.
They are running that play to death. I mean, they just keep throwing it out there and let their linemen come out, and they cut back underneath them.
Been their bread and butter play all day. And this pass tipped in the air and nearly intercepted. It was up for grabs. Ed McDaniel had a shot at it on the pass intended for Bobby Ingram.
Yeah, but Ingram made sure he stayed alive in that thing so no defender came down with it. That's a good heady play by Bobby Ingram. If he's not going to catch it, no one's going to catch it. Ball gets bounced up. Now he stays with it. See how he stays right in the middle of it? Just to slap that ball away, he slaps it down so it's not an interception.
2nd and 10.
This kid's got good fundamentals. Must come from a good school.
Let me guess. Has to be Penn State. Here is Miller, and Miller's pass, and a great catch made by Marcus Robinson inside the 30, closer to the 25. A gain of 19 yards, and remember, the Bears need a touchdown. They'll use up a timeout here, and they'll have 2 timeouts left.
Just working on the outside of that zone. They turn it over to the safety. And again, this is protect. This goes back to the offensive line. You don't see any white jerseys in front of you. Miller has lots of time to just see the field and step and throw. Remember right now, and they stop him. They got to take the timeout. He's in full awareness of the game. This is excellent clock management. He sees it, takes the timeout. What right now the Minnesota Vikings are doing is they're defending not the field, but the end zone. It doesn't matter if they get 3, if they just can't give up the 6. And you want to keep them in bounds. The clock becomes, but there's plenty of time with 2 timeouts and a $1.26. This is just a case of defending the goal line.
And Jim Miller has already thrown for 386. That's the 4th highest total in Bears history. And that's a storied history. First down at the 26. Chicago with 2 timeouts remaining. Miller stepping up, dumps it off to Enos. Enos trying to outrace Ed McDaniel and gets to the 15-yard line for another Bears first down. Now they don't have to be in such a hurry to call a timeout, Matt.
No, but they still have to go with the hurry up because this clock is still ticking.
Bears trail by 7. Miller getting some time. Flag is down, and a holding penalty may be upcoming.
That may be on Olin Kreutz, who was working on Joe Phillips. That's a tough penalty.
The Bears got to the 15-yard line. Now they'll be set back.
57 offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
It is Olin Kreutz.
He's the center right inside. I think Joe Phillips is going to work down inside to him. Oh, it was... Yeah, I'm sorry. I circled the wrong guy. Got my bad eyes on today.
Take them out. Put the good ones in.
They're in right now. I won't make that mistake again.
56 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. 1st and 20. Back at the 25-yard line. And Miller, looking for a receiver, has a wide open man, and it's a touchdown to Marty Booker. 2nd touchdown catch of the game for the rookie Marty Booker from Northeast Louisiana.
They dropped their coverage, and again, time for Miller. Miller has played phenomenally today. Lots of time to throw. They rush 3, and then Dolman comes late. He has all kinds of time to see the whole field. His eyes started here and went all the way across. And then Booker, watch, they just dropped the coverage. He fell down. Nobody back there.
25-yard play. Booker was free, and Jim Miller has now thrown 3 touchdown passes today. And this is the very important extra point. Chris Boniol for the conversion. A flag is down. The kick is good, but there's a penalty.
Over 400 yards for Jim Miller. 422 to be exact. Remember, this Bear team liked him at the start of the season.
Till Shane Matthews put on the late spurt in preseason. Miller would have been their quarterback. Offsides against the Vikings will be declined. And the extra point is good, and the game is tied.
Watch Jim Miller on his throw for 422 yards and his 2nd touchdown to Booker. Wright fell down. Booker got behind, and then Jim Miller shows his version of the dance. Everybody gets excited over there except for one guy, the unflappable and maybe expecting Dick Girard.
Maybe that's why the Bears have come back the way they have this year, because he is a cool customer on the sideline. Dick Duran, who played at Yale, assistant coach at Jacksonville for the last 4 years. Jim Miller, the cast-off from Pittsburgh and several other clubs, including the Detroit Lions, signed last December.
What about good feeling, Dick, right there? Look at that. That's a happy guy and a great feeling.
422 yards passing today for Jim Miller, and that is the most yards since Billy Wade, the former Vanderbilt quarterback who led the Bears to an NFL title in 1963, the only title they won before they won under Mike Ditka in '85.
So you got 50 seconds, 49 seconds left. Still a lot of time. This one's far from over. Far from over.
Vikings still have 2 timeouts left, Matt.
2 timeout and 50 seconds. And the receivers and weapons that they have.
They've got them. They've got a lot of those weapons. Boniol with the kickoff. And Mo Williams returning for Minnesota. Flag down. And Williams is tackled at the 25. Penalty marker with 43 seconds on the clock. And it'll be against the Vikings, which will bring this one back. Want to remind you, fans.
Holding 89 on the kick return.
Matthew Hatchett on the return. For those of you, except the viewers in Chicago, the Packers and the Cowboys will follow this game from Texas Stadium. Some of you will see the Lions, who lead the division by a game and a half, go against the Arizona Cardinals. And Denny Green's Vikings had the lead by 7. Now it's even. These teams have only been involved in close games, Matt, it seems, all year long. First down at the 9. Jeff George completes the pass to Randy Moss. Randy Moss getting behind 3 or 4 defenders. And a sensational run after the catch by the second-year wide receiver to the 48-yard line of Chicago, and the clock stops. Timeout with 27 seconds to go.
Yeah, and Randy Moss was looking for help for Chris Carter on the other side. Just gets to the middle of the field, and then it's just a matter of speed. There's nobody on the field who can run with him. Once he turns right here, he waits for Chris Carter, but they converge. A nice job by Cousin, and then Parrish comes over, and they make the play. Parrish works off the block of Matthew Hatchett and stays with it to stay alive and eventually make this tackle.
A 44-yard gain, and for Randy Moss, a career high, and it's been a sensational career. 11 catches for 162 yards. The Vikings now with 1 timeout remaining. They are on the Bears 47, and there is Gary Anderson, who will be kicking into the wind if the Vikings get close for a try.
You see, Dick, now this is what's different. Now they're defending for the field goal.
Smart move, considering the conditions. Quick toss, dropped by Moss. Second down.
Well, he had a little bit in front of him. That was behind him. Had that been where he could run, he was definitely into the 2 safeties. Ball's thrown behind. Watch, right behind him.
24 seconds remaining in regulation. 2nd and 10.
Chris Carter, Randy Moss, no Jake Reed. It's been Matthew Hatchett even in crunch time here.
George with a pump fake, and he's going deep, and the pass is caught by Moss. Randy Moss with the catch inside the 5-yard line. A 42-yard gain of beating Walt Harris. A perfect pass and a perfect catch.
Look at the eyes of Jess George. He knew what he had the whole time. He gave the pump. He just stayed with Randy Moss, who was on Walt Harris down the field, threw the ball out. Actually, it slowed him up a little bit. And then a nice job of Walt Harris to stay with it. He thought he had 6, but instead, he's going to have to try to get it right here.
Pass was on the money. 16 seconds to go.
Now you run the football.
And Leroy Hoare, the man to run it, charging to about the 2-yard line. And the Vikings will call a timeout.
Oh, they're saying that ball may be loose. No, the official's pointing down. Now, once that official points down,
at the end of the play.
Yeah, then it wouldn't be reviewable either.
Well, Gary Anderson is going to come on now and try to win it. And how close to a deja vu is this? A week ago, Ryan Longwell comes in, and the kick was blocked. What looked like the winning field goal blocked by Brian Robinson to save the game for the Bears. And now Gary Anderson will attempt a 20-yard field goal to try to win it for the Vikings with 4 seconds on the clock.
This game far exceeded anything I thought it would be. The Bears played a phenomenal game. And the Vikings didn't play a great game, but they stayed with it, and they didn't quit. And now they're down to the last play of regulation to see if they can win it.
20-yard attempt coming right up. And they're going to review
to see if it was a fumble or not.
To see whether it was a fumble, but once they rule down by contact, that is not reviewable. Now, this is also in the hands
of the official,
Jerry Markwright, who's upstairs.
Oh, a little hope went through the whole crowd right here. There's Leroy Hoare. Knees down. It came out. His knee was down, and then it looked like it came. They'll look at it right now. We'll see right here. It's a better shot. Ball's still not loose. He's whacked. Knees down now, and now the ball came out.
Well, if they rule that a fumble and recovered by the Bears, you'll hear the loudest cheer.
Oh, they'll let you know.
Since they won the championship here at Soldier Field.
There's the knees down, and now the ball is out. Rock that thing back a little bit. Knees down right there.
Well, here comes Bill Carollo.
There is no review on the play. The ruling on the field was
down by contact.
Minnesota's ball.
You know, if they'd listened to us, Dick, we wouldn't have these things.
Well, for a moment, I think the Bear fans had some great hope. Now they have to hope that either Anderson misses the field goal or it is blocked.
The way this game's gone, this ball will be blocked, picked up by a Chicago guy, and run back the other way.
Something like that. Someone's writing the script of this thing. So the 20-yard field goal attempt. Pittsburgher will hold. And they delay the drama some more.
Yeah, Barry Minner waited to the last second before he put that little bit of ooga booga on Gary Anderson.
Well, the Bears calling a timeout here. And you want to talk about freezing the kicker. Gary Anderson not only had to wait for the review, which wasn't reviewable, but now has to wait some more for the timeout called by the Chicago Bears. So there's the field goal unit, and Gary Anderson, who struggled early. Remember, he had 3 kicks blocked earlier in the season, but he has settled down as of late. But this is, for him, a chip shot. But remember, he's going into the wind here outdoors in Soldier Field.
Gary Anderson is one of the kickers in this league. Now, he went up and he made sure the ball was put back at the 2-yard line. And he can't do that.
Unless he wears a striped shirt.
He remembers it being, we were at the 10-yard line. Yeah, he was right. They had a little talk, and he moved it right back to where he thought it should be. Gary Anderson's one of the few players in the league who actually looks like one of the coaches when he's out in the field. He looks like the special teams coach when he's out there.
Or a ball boy, even.
That's an old ball boy.
Game hanging in the balance, and the kick is off. And it's so good. He pulled it. Gary Anderson missed a 20-yard field goal, and you have to wonder whether the delay on the review and the delay on the timeout may have just gotten him out of sync. In any event, Denny Green shaking his head in disbelief. Time has run out in regulation, and the Bears dodge a bullet on a final field goal for the second straight. You think someone's looking down at them?
I think old Walter had his hand on this ball. Look at this. This is something that should never, this is a chip shot. It's a gimme. It's a gimme wide to the left, and even Dick Duran got excited about it.
Dennis Green looking up in disbelief as Gary Anderson's 20-yard field goal attempt. He pulls it to the left and misses, and the score remains 24-24 as we head into overtime.
He said something to the holder, Berger, but it looked like the ball was down, and
there was the hero last week, Brian Robinson, with the block. Now the coin flip.
This might be the call of the game right here. Remember earlier, Minnesota won the toss and elected to defend, not receive.
Minnesota's the visiting team. They'll make the call. The overtime period will be an extension of the fourth quarter. Each team will have 2 timeouts each. First team that scores wins. Minnesota, it is your choice. Minnesota has called heads. Heads is called. It is a head. You've won the toss. You're going to receive.
A little different than the beginning of the game, huh?
Where do you want to kick from? Can you spell that? Bring it around, please. Just this side. Minnesota has won the toss. They've elected to receive. Good luck.
So the Vikings will get the ball first. Not a Bear fan has left Soldier Field as Gary Anderson pulled a 20-yard field goal attempt to win the game, and Dick Duran's Bears still alive as we head into sudden death overtime. Game against Atlanta, and not more crucial than this one, but right now that has to be the biggest game going for Gary Anderson, who's hoping his Vikings offense can put him in position to win the game or get a touchdown even better. Bonio will kick off for the Bears, and Robert Tate is back there with Mo Williams for the Vikings. Well, the Bears, who have been locked in tight duels all year, snapping a 3-game losing streak last week, already beating the Vikings in Minnesota earlier this year, and the Vikings trying to extend their winning streak to 4 games. We talked about how Chicago really has improved. This is definitely a team on the rise no matter what happens today.
Oh yeah, they're a young group too, and they play from start to finish.
Here is the kickoff to overtime, and Mo Williams colliding with the Robert Tate touchback, and the Vikings get it at the 20. Well, it was the blocked field goal last week. Ryan Longwell's kick blocked by Brian Robinson to save the game for the Bears against the Packers. And today, the pulled kick from 20 yards out by Gary Anderson. The snap was good. The hold by Berger was perfect.
He spun the laces out of the way. He shanked it, baby. He shanked it rocky.
And of course, the spirit of number 34. Of course, this is the first game that the Bears have played in here at Soldier Field since the death of Sweetness. Vikings will have a first down on the 20-yard line as the shadows have totally enveloped Soldier Field, and the only sunshine right now glistening on the Minnesota Vikings bench. Each team with 2 timeouts in the overtime, 15-minute overtime session if it goes that far. Matthew Hatchett, the 3rd wide receiver, out to the left, and Robert Smith, the running back. George to throw on first down, and it's intercepted by Walt Harris. And he goes down in a hurry inside the 30-yard line. Big break for the Bears on the first play. It was intended for Randy Moss.
Phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. Randy Moss, he sees he has the matchup outside. Now watch Walt Harris. That was a great job by Walt Harris. Talk about anticipation. And remember, just at the end of the 4th, they had the same matchup. And he remembered And so he jumped his coverage to the inside. Tremendous anticipation. And he makes the pick and gives him the ball here on the 29-yard line.
And that is the first interception of the year by Walt Harris. And it couldn't come at a more opportune time. And the Bears with the ball on the Viking 29. Here is Curtis Enos. And Enos picking up about 4 yards on the play. And now, as you remember, going in that direction, the Bears have the wind at their back. And Chris Boniol has to be thinking he may get an opportunity before long. Wind gusting up to 25 miles per hour when this game started. 2nd down and 7. Again, they go to Enos. And Enos to the 24-yard line. 3rd down and about 3 or 4. Chris Dolman on the play.
In contrast to last week, up in Green Bay, when Green Bay Packers were criticized for running the ball.
How about Boniol last week talking about his prayers answered when Brian Robinson blocked the kick. He may get his chance. 3rd down and 5. Enos. And Enos to the 23-yard line. 4th down. And you saw that the Bears weren't about to do anything fancy as they send in Chris Boniol to try to win it early here in the overtime.
Well, last week, the Packers were criticized for running the ball instead of trying to take a shot.
Right.
Right here, this is the right thing to do in this kind of game. You have a 41-yard kick right here. You have a chance to win it. You don't take any chance. The downside is not a loss. The downside is you just start over again.
41-yard attempt, and here it goes. And Boniol's kick is up, and it is no good, off to the right. So Chris Boniol gives the Vikings another chance as Jeff George gets his helmet strapped on. So the score remains 24-24. Here's the attempt from 41 yards out.
One pulled it to the left, the other pushed it to the right.
This one looked like it had a chance, though. And as Dick Duran told us, you know, he has practiced well, he's done all the right things, but he's got to start making these kicks. He kicked a 34-yard field goal earlier. Misses this one in overtime, and the Vikings get the ball back on their 31. Hand off to Robert Smith, testing the middle and getting 5 yards. Two place kickers, Gary Anderson missing one at the end of the game, 20 yards out to win it for the Vikings, and Boniol now missing one from 41 yards out in overtime, which would have won it for the Bears. 2nd and 5. Again, they hand off to Robert Smith, and Smith may have the 1st down. Warwick Holdman making the tackle. And this game is history, except in Chicago. Coming up next, the Packers against the Cowboys, and you know the Packers have a lot of interest in this game.
The Cowboys are up 7-0 already in that game. Remember, they're without the big three that have given us a lot of viewing pleasure for the last 10 years. Aikman's out, and Smith is out. Michael Irvin's out. Jason Garrett is in. Chris Warren, who's a player. I believe that's the way you have to go. You have to ride Chris Warren in this game.
1st down for the Vikings. As we pointed out earlier, Jason Garrett has a winning record as a starter, backing up Troy Aikman.
But he's only going to be effective if they can get some kind of play action going. And that has to happen with a solid running game, and that, of course, is Chris Warren. And Rocket Ismail is the guy who gives them speed down the field.
Only 16 yards separate these two teams, each going over 400. Been that tight. 1st down at the 41-yard line, and Jeff George on a slant throws it behind Chris Carter, but Carter makes the catch nonetheless, and a gain of about 7.5.
handled by Tom Murray.
New Orleans, San Francisco is just putrid right now. Indianapolis is a team to keep your eye on.
You said that in the pregame show.
That's an excellent team. Buffalo stopped Miami.
Second down and 3 at the 48. Vikings first possession of the sudden death overtime. Robert Smith cutting up the middle. First down for Smith to the 45-yard line, 46 of the Bears. And it's been a game of missed opportunities for the field goal kickers as Gary Anderson missed a 20 as time ran out to try to win it for the Vikings. And then Chris Bonio with a chance to win it for the Bears. So right now the kickers with the big X's on their head.
Goes back to what I always said from the beginning. Never trust the kicker.
Beginning of time you said that.
Right.
Vikings first down on the 46 and Carter drops the ball. Terry Cousin defending on the play.
I like Terry Cousin. This is my first opportunity to watch the Bears live. I watched them on tape a few times, and there's a few guys who stepped up for me. And this guy here, Terry Cousin, I like. I liked him on tape, and I've liked him playing live because he has pretty good anticipation, but he's aggressive. He doesn't back down from anything. I like to see that in a defender.
He replaced Tom Carter at cornerback a couple of weeks ago. Second down and 10. Pressure put on George. Pumps once. Nothing there, and he has a wide open receiver who can't hold on. Jim Kleinsasser, the rookie tight end, fullback combined, couldn't hold on.
Well, where he wanted to go was right down here. And it was to Chris Carter. He tried to double move him, but Cousin was right on top of it. And then when he couldn't go there, he whirled and went to the right and tried to find Randy Moss, but Walt Harris jumped all over that coverage. And then he had to settle for Kleinsasser, who had fallen down. He'd fallen and he couldn't get up. I think there's a joke in there.
Yes, seven fill in the blank. 7 drop passes by the Vikings today, and a timeout called by Minnesota. That means they have 1 left in this overtime session. So Jeff George, who has thrown 3 touchdown passes today to Chris Carter, calls the timeout. The Detroit Lions winning at Arizona. Tampa Bay winning today. And Minnesota and Chicago, they could be all even at 5 apiece. 5 wins, 5 losses if Chicago wins, and the Packers trailing right now. And right now the Detroit Lions leading the pack, so to speak, in the NFC Central.
And this Chicago, this has been a fantastic game to watch. I mean, we had big play, we had everything. But this Chicago Bear team, it's no fluke. They just keep on coming at you.
Defensively, they played exceptionally well against a very fine offense. And Jim Miller has thrown 3 touchdown passes today, 2 to Marty Booker, the rookie, and 1 to Marcus Robinson for 77 yards. But the Vikings have the ball, 3rd down and 10 on the Bears' 46. George getting time. Pass up the middle. Flag down, and Chris Carter may have been interfered with.
Terry Cousin was working on him.
And Carter knew it. It'll be a first down at the 25-yard line for the Vikings.
Trying to run a deep in route. He's going to work on Cousin. Cousin has him undercut. And they're going to call that. I don't know about that one. Yeah, I guess you have to call it. Because he has his... face guarding no longer exists in this league. But you have to be able to allow the receiver to go get it.
Packers Cowboys already underway. Coming up next for you viewers, except here in Chicago. First down, that was a 21-yard penalty. Earlier in the 4th quarter, a 16-yard penalty. As Cousin interfered with Carter. Now the handoff to Robert Smith, who dives inside of the 23-yard line. And Jim Flanagan is there, and already Gary Anderson is thinking that he has an opportunity to redeem himself from missing the 20-yarder that would have won it in regulation. Second down coming up.
You know, as a player, and I say stuff about it now, but you really don't think anything about the kicker missing a field goal. You don't. All you're concerned about is going back out there and getting to the next play. You don't really dog them until the next day.
But you dog them.
Oh, absolutely.
2nd down and 8, Robert Smith. And remember, the Vikings are going into the wind, and it looks as if they're just trying to set up at this point the field goal try. They're 5 yards short of the first down with 3rd down coming up, and Matt Hatchett will come into the game along with Leroy Horde.
Spread him out and hit him up the gut with Leroy.
Bears led 17-14 at the half. And the Vikings took a 24-17 lead on Jeff George's 3rd strike to Chris Carter before the Bears tied it up, and that's where we've been. 3rd and 5.
Smith and Horde both in the game, no tight end.
Out of the shotgun, Jeff George's pass, and it's incomplete. Harris defending against Matthew Hatchett, and that'll bring up 4th down.
And like that series.
4th down, and Gary Anderson coming in to attempt what appears to be a 38-yard field goal. And you know, the two coaches will be standing and waiting. Anderson did not miss a field goal in the regular season last year. The first kicker to go through perfect.
He's got a wind right in his face.
There's the 38-yard field goal by Anderson. And this kick is good. It just gets over the crossbar, and the Vikings win it. Gary Anderson makes amends for his miss to end regulation, and he connects on a 38-yard field goal to give the Vikings their 4th win in a row, to go 6-4 on the year, and the Bears drop it, go 4-6 on the season. Here it is, the winning field goal by Gary Anderson, as the Vikings prevail in overtime. Big win for Minnesota on the road, avenging an earlier setback to the Bears in Minnesota.
Well, you had everything in this game. You had a lot of offense. You had some big plays on defense, and inevitably it came down to the redemption by Anderson.
And the disconsolate Chicago Bears bench. And some people can't even look.
Jeff George did not want to see.
So for Matt Millen and Pam Oliver, this is Dick Stockton saying so long from Soldier Field. The final score, the Vikings 27, the Bears 23.